AM980 CKNW.
From the Coliseum, NHL hockey with the Vancouver Canucks hosting the Minnesota North Stars. Play-by-play action coming up.
Marion, we're married a month now. There's something I'd like to discuss. This.
My toothpaste, George.
My toothpaste, George. McLean's, Marion.
I have always used
Yes, I know, but McLean's makes teeth irresistibly whiter.
Don't you want me to look nice?
Nice, okay, but irresistible? To whom? You're a happily married woman now, Marion. Your teeth don't have to be that white.
Oh, George, you're so possessive.
Here's something else about McLean's that'll really grab you. 2 tickets to the Vancouver Canuck hockey game on April 4th. Eaton's remind you that when you buy McLean's toothpaste, don't toss away the empty box. Send the end flap from a McLean's box or facsimile to CKNW with your name and address. And that's the only requirement. No questions, only your name and address plus the McLean's flap. So next time you're in Eaton's, pick up McLean's toothpaste and maybe tickets to the Canucks game. McLean's toothpaste available at all Eaton stores in the Lower Mainland.
Now to the Coliseum, here's Jim Robson.
Good afternoon, hockey fans. It's the Vancouver Canucks and the Minnesota North Stars here at Vancouver's Pacific Coliseum. Both teams have just stepped out on the ice, loosening up for this NHL afternoon game. Minnesota in their road uniforms, green with white and gold trim. The Canucks in their home whites with blue and green trim. They've been very evenly matched in their 4 previous meetings. Minnesota has the edge, 2 wins to 1, and they've also had 1 tie. And they'll be dropping the puck in 1 minute.
Many years have passed since the railroad men completed the tracks that were to unite British Columbia with the rest of the Dominion of Canada. And through most of those years, the Bank of Commerce helped with the dramatic growth of our province. To salute the railroad men, we're playing our theme on the kind of harmonica the Gandhi dancers may have relaxed with after a hard day's work in the Fraser Canyon. And to celebrate BC Centennial, the Commerce has issued a special set of 5 full-color checks: Whistler Mountain, Point Atkinson Lighthouse, Gulf Islands, Okanagan Lake, and Cathedral Mountain. For only $2.98, you get 200 checks printed with your name, address, and account number. Find out how more of us do more for you at the Commerce.
With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free, and stand on guard, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, glorious and free, we stand on guard, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Richard Loney and the singing of O Canada. We're getting ready to go. The referee this afternoon is Lloyd Gilmore. The linesman, Bob Waddell and John D'Amico. Charlie Hodge is in goal for Vancouver, defending the north goal to our right, putting on his mask. The starting defense for Vancouver, Gary Doak and Pat Quinn. The forward line, Mike Corrigan at center ice, Murray Hall at right wing, Ted Taylor on the left. Minnesota's goaltenders, Cesar Maniago. On defense, Doug Mones on the left, Tom Reed on the right. And the opening face-off at center ice between Hampson and Corrigan, a couple of number 12s, and the Canucks get possession. Hampson is out there with Harvey on the right wing, and the left winger on this line is Jean-Paul Parise. In the Minnesota zone, Taylor just had a chance in front, but Reed checked him before he can shoot. And Minnesota get possession in their own zone. Hampson into the left corner to Mones. Plays it behind the net on the right boards for Harvey. Checked by Quinn, who intercepts at the Minnesota line and shoots the puck back in. 30 seconds gone, no score. Reed plays it off the boards. It comes out at a weird angle after hitting the referee Gilmore in the ankle, and he's limping a bit out there. Reed in behind his own goal. Around on the boards for Harvey. Quinn checked him. Canucks of Minnesota bottled in their own end right now. Reed plays it around on the boards. Quinn gets it again. Shoots it. It's deflected wide by Taylor. And Maniago stopped it at the side of the goal and held it. A line change for both clubs. Jack Gordon, for years in the Rangers organization and in Cleveland, is the coach of the Minnesota North Stars. Hal Lako, 11 years in the National Hockey League as a defenseman in Montreal, New York, and Boston, coach of the Canucks. The Canucks send out Boudria, Paymont, Popeil with a defense of Talon and Wilkins. On the face-off between Drouin and Boudria, the puck goes over to Danny Grant on the left wing, failed to get away. Drouin back in his own zone, getting the puck across to Gibbs on the right. Out at center ice to Grant. On the left for Drouin, racing in the Vancouver zone with Talon. Talon got to the puck first to Paymont, failed to get it out, gets a second chance, plays it in behind the goal to Talon. The big line out there for Minnesota. Drouin between Grant and Goldsworthy. Boudria's at center on the left to Popeil over the Minnesota line. Popeil moving in out in front of the goal. He lets a shot go and deflects wide off defenseman Ted Harris. Harris and Gibbs, the current defense for Minnesota. Gibbs plays it off the boards. It's intercepted at the blue line by Wilkins. His shot on the net, and Maniago grabbed that one and held it and then leaves it for Harris. Harris starting out on the right. Backhands a pass to center to Drouin on the right to Goldsworthy. Over the Vancouver line, lets a shot go, and Hodge makes his first save. Turns it to the right corner. It's along the end boards. Boudria picked it up. Cleared it to Talon. Checked by Drouin. It comes out in front. Here's a chance for Goldsworthy. Checked by Wilkins, who knocked it off his stick. It's in behind the Vancouver goal. Hodge shovels it away from Goldsworthy. Wilkins on the left wing to Popeil. Carries to center, gives it to Paymont. It deflects in the Minnesota zone. Maniago comes out of the goal to shoot it to the left corner. It's loose in the Minnesota zone. Popeil just failed to reach it as Gibbs clears it out to Goldsworthy on the right wing. Checked by Popeil. Gibbs gets the puck again in his own territory. Clears it on the left wing to Grant. It hopped off his stick as he was checked by Boudria. He cleared it to the Vancouver line, then Drouin dumps it in as the Minnesota team change on the move. No score. 2.5 minutes gone first period. Dale Talon starts quickly out of his own zone. On the left to center ice. Shoots the puck in. Wide of the goal. Steered off to the side for Gibbs. He passes on the right wing to Nanny. At center to Labossiere. Back to Nanny on the right over the Vancouver line. Nanny cutting it on goal. He centered the puck. It went in front of the crease to the corner. It's along the boards in the corner to the right of Hodge, and Barry Wilkins comes up with it. Carries it in behind the goal. Oliver's at left wing, Nanny on the right wing, and the center iceman right now for Minnesota's Gordon Labossiere. Gary Doak for the Canucks carries out on the right, gets to center, passes to Kurtenbach in 2-on-1 with Johnson. Kurtenbach to Johnson, and he missed right in front of the goal. He tried to tip it and missed the puck. Quinn keeps it in. Backhands it in behind the net. Great chance for Johnson in the clear in front of the goal. Had quite a bit of net left to shoot at, too, but he missed the pass from Kurtenbach right in front. Labossiere's at center ice for Minnesota. In on the Canuck defense, Quinn took him out, and Quinn's playing very well in his first couple of shifts today. Now at center, Labossiere on the left wing for Oliver. Slaps it in the corner to Hodge's left. Nanny goes in after it against Kurtenbach. They go in behind the Vancouver goal. The puck is still in play on the end boards, and Kurtenbach comes up with it. Carrying out on the right, flanked by wingers Schmatz and Johnson. The pass for Schmatz over the Minnesota line. He shoots it high, and it went out of play and among the spectators back at the Minnesota goal. The score, Vancouver nothing, Minnesota nothing. This is NHL hockey from Vancouver.
In hockey, there's no such thing as a sure winner, but when it comes to fishing, Shakespeare wins time and time again over all competition. Join the winning combination, Shakespeare and you. Spend a little more for Shakespeare and spend a lot more time fishing.
3 minutes and 47 seconds gone in the first period. The best scoring chance so far this afternoon, missed by Vancouver's Danny Johnson right in front of the net. The play has been pretty even in this opening 4 minutes. Quinn shoots the puck in the Minnesota zone. Maniago dumps it around on the left boards to Doug Moans. His pass picked up at center by Hampson on the left wing for Parise. Shoots it in the corner to Buster Harvey. He's centered the puck. It went to the right boards. Hampson taken in by Hall. The puck is still in play along the boards. Parise goes in to try and dig it out. Ties up Doak in the corner. They hold the puck in the corner as the four players jam in and stop it, with Hall, Hampson, Parise, and Doak stopping the play. Charlie Hodge in goal for Vancouver with a goals against average of .339. No shutouts. Maniago in goal for Minnesota has 5 shutouts and a goals against average of .270. and he has been outstanding in recent Minnesota games. They are making an announcement here. Someone is blowing a whistle in the stands. And if they spot who it is, the person will be ejected from the building. And the crowd applauds because someone's blowing a whistle while the play is on. Reed shoots the puck in the Vancouver zone. It's deflected over to Pat Quinn. He failed to get out, but Doak picks it up. Standing deep in his own zone on the left to Quinn. On the left wing to Taylor. He's at center ice. Shoots the puck in the Minnesota zone. Maniago comes out of the net to stop it at the side of the goal. Passes off the boards. Picked up by Hampson. Coming out on the right. Gives it to Harvey at center ice. On the left wing for Parise. Takes a long shot that Hodge stopped with his right leg. Parise gets it behind the Vancouver goal. Just failed to center the puck. And Talon picked it up. Passes across in front of the goal to Pat Quinn. Coming out on the left. A long right wing pass too far ahead for Hall. Doug Moans gets to the puck first, and Vancouver is called for icing, the first icing call of the hockey game. The score, Vancouver nothing, Minnesota nothing. More hockey action in a moment.
You know, you can always count on Schneider's quality. When you find a Schneider's product costing a little more, it's only because Schneider's know of no way of offering it to you cheaper without making the product cheaper. And that's something they just couldn't do. Buy Schneider's and taste the difference quality makes.
Face off in Vancouver territory. Paul Popiel getting the puck for the Canucks to Talon to Boudria. Starting up the ice, right up the middle. He's at center ice. In on the defense. Passes to Paymont. It's offside at the Minnesota line. Previous meetings between these two in Vancouver, the Canucks defeated the North Stars 3-2, and then Minnesota downed the Canucks 2-1. In Minnesota, the teams tied 3-3, and then Minnesota won 3-1, so they've all been close. Dale Talon took a long shot that Maniago took off his chest, and the puck goes in behind the net, controlled there by Gibbs on the Minnesota defense. Passes to Jude Drouin, the leading scorer for the North Stars. On the right to Goldsworthy, he's in the clear. Goldsworthy right in, he shoots, he scores! Goldsworthy got away from his Czech left winger Paul Popiel, and Goldsworthy sprinted into the clear at the Vancouver line and scores his 31st goal of the year. On a fine pass from Jude Drouin, the leading point getter for Minnesota gets his 49th assist of the year. At 5:19 of the first period, a pretty goal. Goldsworthy took the pass outside the Canuck blue line, got into the clear, walked in a quick high shot, a wrist shot from close range, beating Hodge cleanly.
Minnesota's first goal.
The puck is shot in the Vancouver zone. Dale Talon goes over to pick it up, puts it behind the net. Wilkins has it there, has to pass it back into the corner for Talon. Intercepted, thrown in front, and Hodge ticks it to the side. It's held at the side of the Vancouver goal to stop the play. Goldsworthy scoring the goal on a breakaway from the blue line in. Drouin hit him with a perfect pass. Gibbs gets the second assist. They announced Gibbs as the first assist for some reason, but it was Drouin's perfect pass in the center ice zone, hitting Goldsworthy on the right wing just outside the Canuck blue line with a quick burst. He broke into the clear, streaked in on Hodge, and beat him with a high shot for his 31st goal of the year. Goldsworthy at 5:19 of the first period. Minnesota leading 1-0. Quinn had the pass tip away. It's controlled along the boards by Oliver. His back pass intercepted by Kurtenbach. Coming out for Vancouver on the right wing to Schmatz. He passes to an open wing. Johnson is offside as he picked up the pass. Drouin had 62 points before today, and he's a rookie in the NHL, although he's had some previous pro experience. He's a leading candidate for the Rookie Award, or one of the leading candidates, but Gilbert Perreault of Buffalo is expected to win that Calder Trophy. Andre Boudria is Vancouver's leading scorer with 56 points, one ahead of Rosaire Paymont. The puck is cleared in the Vancouver zone. Hodge stops it, turns it in behind the goal to Kurtenbach, shoots it off the boards into the right corner to Doak, starting up the ice. Doak's long pass for Johnson, intercepted by Nanny. This Minnesota team checks very well, and they have scored the all-important first goal. The puck is cleared in the Vancouver zone by Nanny. Now it's Quinn deep in his own zone. Off the left boards for Johnson. He's checked. The puck controlled by the North Stars' Nanny. Kurtenbach checked him inside the blue line. The North Stars keeping it in. A back pass for Oliver goes to the corner. Quinn took him into the boards, and the puck is underneath Oliver and held there to stop the play. The score, Minnesota 1, Vancouver 0 from the Coliseum in Vancouver.
Celebrate British Columbia's centennial with Bank of Commerce BC Centennial checks. 5 full-color scenes taken from the length and breadth of this growing province. Join the birthday party and find out how more of us do more for you at the Commerce.
Face-off in Vancouver territory. Talon gets the puck. Shoots it off the right boards for Hall. He failed to get out. Minnesota keeping the Canucks bottled up. Parise just failed to center the puck when checked by Talon. Puck comes back to Gibbs. His shot knocked down by Talon. Deflects to the corner again. Talon and Hampson battle there. Parise gets the puck back for Hampson. It comes back to Harris at the left point. Here's his shot. Caught by Charlie Hodge, who held the puck. We played 7 minutes and 6 seconds of the first period. It's 1-0 for Minnesota. Chicago leading Detroit 1-0 in the third period. Another afternoon game just getting underway. Los Angeles at Oakland. Face-off in the Vancouver zone. The puck comes outside the blue line. Hall racing after it with Harris. Hall just failed to get away at the Minnesota line, and Harris came up with the puck. His pass went right through to the Vancouver line to Wilkins, to Talon, to Corrigan at center ice. Over the Minnesota line to Hall on the right wing. Hall shoots. It went wide. Came off the left boards, and Wilkins failed to reach it as it's cleared out to the Vancouver blue line. Talon has it there. To Corrigan at center. Corrigan, stick handling at center ice. Shoots the puck in the Minnesota zone. Cesar Maniago stopped that one and leaves it at the side of the net for Gibbs. Gibbs stops in the left corner. Forechecked by Hall. Gibbs now in the right corner to Harvey. Ahead to Ted Hampson. Checked in his own zone. Taylor gets the puck inside the blue line. Failed to get it across to Corrigan. It comes out to center. Wilkins picked it up. He's checked along the boards at the Minnesota line. And the play is stopped, and here comes the first penalty of the afternoon as Lloyd Gilmore stops the play, and a holding penalty is being called to Buster Harvey of the Minnesota North Stars. At 7:59 of this first period.
Minnesota penalty to number 18, Buster Harvey. 2 minutes for holding. The time 7:59.
Now the Canucks with a man advantage, trailing 1-0. Boudreau's at center ice. Kurtenbach moves to left wing. Paymont at right wing, and on the points, Wilkins and Talon. Minnesota have excellent penalty killers. Right now they have Ted Hampson. The defensemen are Reed and Moans. Murray Oliver and Ted Hampson, the forwards. On the face-off at the Minnesota line, Wilkins gets the puck at the left point, holding it there, winding up. Here's his shot. Goes wide. Comes off the boards to Oliver, slaps it down the ice. Hodge comes out to stop it and leave it in behind the goal for Talon. 1-0 for Minnesota. Canucks starting out, Talon to Boudreau. Boudreau on the left wing to Kurtenbach. Over the Minnesota line. Kurtenbach moving in. Stick handling over to the right. Back to Talon at the right point. Moving in close. He gave it to Paymont. He shoots. Maniago made a great save off Rosaire Paymont. That was a beautiful play. And Maniago made a great stop right by the goal line as he went down on the ice and had his legs up off the ice a few inches. The puck appeared to be a foot or two out the ice. He trapped it between his pads. Great stop. Fine play by Kurtenbach, Talon, and Paymont, who fired from about 20 feet right in front, but Maniago robbed him. The puck is cleared out and down the ice, and Goldsworthy now killing the penalty, races after it. Hodge comes out to get to it and sweep it to the left corner. Wilkins picked it up, chased by Hampson. Wilkins stops on the end boards. Now coming out from behind the goal on the left. His pass intercepted by Goldsworthy in the Vancouver zone as Wilkins handed him the puck. Goldsworthy rags it back to his own line, gives it to Hampson at center ice. Over the Vancouver line on the left. Hampson along the left boards. Taken out by Talon. They fall to the ice and the puck is underneath them and the play is stopped. Wilkins lost his stick too in that last play in the Vancouver end. 59 seconds gone and the penalty to Harvey. It's 1-0 for Minnesota as we near the 9-minute mark of the first period. The weather in Vancouver today, a beautiful day. We've had a string of sunny weather all week long. It's been a bit on the cool side, down near freezing at night, but up around 50 degrees and sunny in the daytime. And it's another gorgeous day today. Boudreau is at center ice. In on the Minnesota defense. On the left wing to Kurtenbach. He was checked while trying to shoot. And the puck is grabbed at the side of the goal by goaltender Cesar Maniago. Maniago, a BC boy, born in Trail and lives in Burnaby in the off-season. The score, Minnesota 1, Vancouver nothing. Canucks hockey continues in a moment.
Advance from thoughts to words to action faster with the IBM Executive Dictating Unit. This unit gets your thoughts onto paper more quickly and conveniently, so it saves time and trouble for you and your secretary. Check out the IBM Executive Unit. Call IBM.
Play underway in the Minnesota zone. Taylor to Popeil at the left point. A long drive. Stop the rebound. Hall tried to bang it past Maniago, who was down, but it went off Maniago's stick. Taylor gets it behind the Minnesota goal. In front for Corrigan. He whistles it wide. And Hall just failed to tip it on the doorstep. Talon keeping it onside at the right point. Then it's forced outside the blue line by Parise. Hall takes it back in, and the play is called offside, as there was a jam up right at the blue line by the Minnesota bench. Canucks came close there. Corrigan just missing the far corner, and Hall was in position to tip it in too, but he just missed it. It's a sellout crowd again today, although there are a few empty seats, but the tickets are sold. So even if all the seats may not be filled, the tickets have been sold, and maybe some of the season ticket holders just aren't here today, but most of the seats are filled, and all of the tickets have been sold. Corrigan shoots the puck in the Minnesota zone with 15 seconds left in the penalty. Hall gets the puck in the corner. Back passes in front. Intercepted by Gibbs. He lost it behind the net to Hall. It's held at the side of the goal by Maniago as Hall tried to center it again. 7 seconds left in the penalty to Harvey. Gun Worsley did not make the trip for Minnesota. Out with a leg injury. George Gardner is not dressed for the Canucks today. These two teams both have 3 goaltenders on their roster. Face off to the left of Maniago. Comes back to Quinn at the point. His shot. Maniago stopped that one as it came through a crowd. Johnson in the corner. Behind the net for Schmatz. Out in front to the right point to Doak. The penalty's over. Doak shoots it around on the boards to Kurtenbach. It comes off to the side, and now a penalty coming up to Minnesota again, just after Harvey stepped on the ice, as Lloyd Gilmore is giving Gibbs a boarding penalty as he hit Johnson in the corner after he had centered the puck. And after killing one penalty, the North Stars will have to kill another one. Gibbs for boarding at 10:05 of this first period.
Gibbs, 2 minutes for board checking. The time, 10:05.
That's only the second penalty of the afternoon. North Stars leading 1-0. Face off to the left of Maniago in Minnesota territory. Ray Cullen is on the ice for the first time in the last few games, playing against his former teammates. He's at center for this face-off against Hampson. North Stars get the puck, but not out. Talon keeps it in, plays it to the point. On the other side, there's nobody there, as Gibbs or Wilkins had been back. Shot by Goldsworthy at the Vancouver line, hit Barry Wilkins. Now Kurtenbach behind the net to Talon. Talon had trouble controlling the puck when checked by Hampson, but Talon gets control and starts up the ice. Talon up the middle to center. On the right now for Cullen. Over the Minnesota line, taken out by Hampson along the boards. Moans gets the puck in the corner, ran into Kurtenbach. Cullen gets the puck behind the goal. Off the boards, intercepted by Goldsworthy, who backhands it down the ice. Talon back for the puck. Cullen, Schmatz, Kurtenbach, Wilkins, and Talon, the Vancouver power play. Kurtenbach carries to center ice. On the right wing for Cullen, over the Minnesota line, along the right boards, into the corner. Stops along the boards, plays it back to the right point. It's clear to the left point to Wilkins. A shot deflects in front. It went to the corner. Schmatz gets it in the corner. Hampson checks him. They go into the boards. Puck still in play along the boards. Schmatz tries to dig it out. Hampson covers it up on the boards. Kicks it loose. Cullen got his stick on it. It comes out to Kurtenbach. He back passes to Wilkins, moving in from the left point. He shoots. Maniago kicked it out. Kurtenbach shoots it wide. On the rebound. Good chance. Kurtenbach gets it again along the right boards to Talon at the right point. Talon turning along the right boards, moving into the corner. He shoots into a crowd. It's bounced off a leg over to Moans. Moans got to center, but no further. Then it was lost by Talon. Give it right back to Moans. To Goldsworthy. He shoots, and he scores! Goldsworthy on a long slap shot that went off Charlie Hodges' stick and just sort of blooped up into the air and bounced right into the goal off Hodges' stick in a rather weird fashion. The score, Minnesota 2, Vancouver nothing, playing in Vancouver.
For 1971, Mercury announces an all-new little car, Mercury Comet. the little car with better ideas, with a choice between 3 frugal 6-cylinder engines or a performance-proven V8. Mercury Comet. It's at your Mercury dealers now.
Goldsworthy from Moan should be the scoring play for Minnesota while they were shorthanded. Here's another chance for the North Stars. A shot blocked by Wilkins. It's kept in now. Parise going after the puck, but Talon clears it out on the right to Paymont. 8 minutes left in the first period as he slaps a long drive on Maniago, who stopped it. And Maniago's been very steady in that Minnesota goal. Boudria gets the puck in the corner, puts it in front for Paymont. Checked as he tried to shoot. The puck goes into the corner to Harris. Harris turning along the boards with the puck, played it ahead now to Oliver as Minnesota's back at full strength. And they streak out to center with the puck taken in by Wayne Malloy. Back passes, a shot by Gibbs, stopped by Hodge and went off his left leg to Boudria. Boudria stopped at his own line, plays it across to Mackey, tipping it to Wilkins at center ice, and he shoots it in. 7.5 minutes left in the first period. 2-0 for Minnesota. Goldsworthy scoring both goals. He now has 32 this year. Mackey out at center with the puck. Back to Wilkins on the left. On the right for Mackey. It tips over to Paymont, who shoots it in. Goes off the boards in the corner to Malloy, his first shift today. Obtained in a trade from Oakland late in the season. The puck bounced out to center ice as Minnesota change on the move. Mackey over the Minnesota line, checked inside the blue line by Malloy. Gives it to Druin at center. In on the Vancouver defense, overskates and loses the puck. Quinn, his pass tipped off the leg. Druin picked it up over the Vancouver line. Druin stick handling to the left. Back to Grant. His shot is blocked by Doak, who lost sight of the puck. It's underneath Doak, and the play is stopped.
In other NHL action this afternoon, Chicago down Detroit 2-0. And in the first period, California leads Los Angeles 1-0.
Chicago defeated Detroit 2-0 this afternoon. Good news for the Canucks. They're trying to catch the Red Wings. And Oakland, that is the California Golden Seals, as they call them now, leading Los Angeles 1-0 in the first period. It's 2-0 here for Minnesota. 1 goal scored while they were killing a penalty, and the Canucks have had 12 goals against them this year while they had a man advantage. Hall ran into Harris at center, and Gibbs gets the puck for the North Stars. To Grant at the Vancouver line on the left boards, ran into Doak, who kicked the puck outside the blue line. Now Jude Druin has it at center, shoots it in the Vancouver zone. It just missed the referee, Lloyd Gilmore. The puck goes in behind the net to Pat Quinn. Around on the right boards to Murray Hall. Hall's pass hit Druin, but Hall recovered the puck and cleared it out to center ice. Harris has it there, the big Minnesota captain. Passes to Grant, who shot hit Doak. Hall trying to get the puck out. Back pass is intercepted by Druin. Druin shoots it wide. On the right wing, Goldsworthy hit by Taylor, but the pass went to Druin. Back to Harris, a backhander in front, blocked by Quinn. Quinn getting the puck. Ahead to Corrigan, he couldn't control it. And it's shot back in the Vancouver zone. Doak moves out to pick it up. Doak flips it over to Corrigan on the right side. He's at center ice. Stopped to get away from Harris, and the pass was intercepted by Grant, and Minnesota's controlling the play. They lead 2-0. Quinn at center with the puck. On the right wing to Hall. Checked neatly by Harris at the Minnesota blue line. Then it's cleared in by Pat Quinn. The North Stars changing on the move. Coming out to center. Nanny with a long drive went off Quinn to the corner. Talon back to pick up the puck. Checked by Nanny. Talon recovers the puck, starting out of his own zone. Dale Talon on the right wing now, picked up by Schmatz. He's breaking in on goal. Schmatz right in. Oh, and Maniago came out to make the save and held the puck. Another big stop by Maniago. Off Bobby Schmatz. The score, Minnesota 2, Vancouver 0. More NHL hockey in a moment.
The 4th and U branch of the Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce in Vancouver is pleased to be able to participate in bringing you this NHL hockey broadcast. It's one more way more of us do more for you at the Commerce.
Minnesota in possession in their own zone. Lawson out there for the first time. Dumped it in behind the net to Doug Moans. Moans passing off into the left corner. And now the puck is cleared out to center ice, and Labossiere failed to pick it up there. Talon gives it to Bob Schmatz, who broke into the clear on the right wing in that last rush, and Maniago came out to cut down the angle. Schmatz tried to drive it through him, but was unsuccessful. Now the puck goes out of play by the Minnesota bench. 4:47 left in the first period, 2-0 for the North Stars. And a key goal is that one scored by Minnesota while they were shorthanded. That gives the team that scores a big lift. And it takes a lot out of the other club. And that's what happened to the Canucks in Minnesota the last time they met there, when Ted Hampson scored a goal while killing a penalty. proved to be the winning goal in the game. Now Wilkins for the Canucks to Talon on the right side at center. Slaps it in on the net. Cesar Maniago handled that one easily. Dumps it to the left corner. It bounces off the stick of Nanny, and it's cleared out to center ice. Lawson tipped it across to center, and it's back to Talon. On the right side at center, shoots it to the Minnesota line. Knocked down by Moans. Coming back at center ice to the Vancouver line. Passes it in for Lawson too far ahead, and Talon goes back to pick it up. Very few whistles in this first period. Talon coming out of his own zone, swings over to the left. Now he's at center, passes in at the blue line for Schmatz. He failed to break in as Reed checked him and got the puck to Labossiere. On the left boards at center ice, around Kurtenbach over the Vancouver line, cutting in on Talon, centered the puck, and it went behind Lawson. Back comes Johnson, coming out of his own zone. Danny Johnson back passes to Kurtenbach at center, over the Minnesota line on the left. Kurtenbach cutting for the goal, behind the net. Taken out by Reed, and the puck goes into the corner to Parise. Parise coming out on the left wing, upset by Paymont. Now Paymont stays right with him, but Parise gets the puck again, kicked it towards the goal, and it was intercepted by Johnson. Back for Vancouver, and they're really skating now. Johnson in on the defense, back passes to Kurtenbach, swings to the right, threw it in front, Gibbs cleared it away. The defenseman right in front of Maniago broke up the play. Parise on the left wing over the Vancouver line, tried to pass back for Harris, and Boudria picked it up. Boudria starting up the ice. His pass at center, tipped over on the left wing for Popiel. Over the Minnesota line, his shot goes away wide. Comes off the boards. Doak moves up to get it. Into the corner to Boudria. Knocked off stride by Parise. Harris and Popiel battle along the boards in the corner, and the puck is held in there to stop the play. The score, Minnesota 2, Vancouver nothing. This is Canucks hockey from Vancouver.
Hockey players can't afford sore, aching muscles. That's why Vancouver Canuck trainer Ed Shamlock relies on Rub A535 in the dressing room. Anti-phlogistin Rub A535, fast, effective relief for muscular aches and pains.
2:57 left in the first period. Minnesota's in third place in the Western Division, 2 points ahead of Philadelphia, and on the face-off in North Star territory, Doak took a long shot that Maniago stopped. Then Taylor falls in the corner with the puck underneath him. And Lloyd Gilmore says the face-off thus will be moved outside the Minnesota zone, claiming that Taylor stopped the play. Minnesota third with 67 points. Philadelphia have 65, and Pittsburgh 58, Los Angeles 56. So those four are battling for playoff spots. Minnesota and Philadelphia in a good position to make the playoffs right now, but still haven't clinched them. Play out at the center ice zone. Hall dumped the puck into Minnesota territory. Gibbs back there to pick it up. On the end boards, plays it in the corner to Hampson. Around on the right boards for Harvey. Harvey played it but not out. Corrigan has it at the blue line. Threw it in front. Maniago stopped it. Hall gets it at the side of the net. To Corrigan, he backhands it just wide of the far corner. Taylor along the left boards with the puck. Quinn is also in there, and Quinn's going to get trapped in there if the North Stars come out, and they do. At center, Druin with the puck. Now it's Parise over the Vancouver line on the left. Plays it back for Harvey. Cutting in on the left. Quinn gets a piece of him as he got back to check him. The puck goes in behind the net. Doak takes out Parise as Hall gets the puck. Hall stops in his own zone, lost it in front. And a shot by Hampson is blocked by Hodge, but the play had been stopped for a penalty on the North Stars as Hall had been hooked by Harvey when he lost the puck. And Buster Harvey slams a stick on the boards as he goes to the penalty box at 7:59 of this first period with his second penalty of the afternoon. Hall lost the puck right near the front of his own goal there.
2 minutes for hooking. The time 17:59.
But Hall was hooked by Harvey and drew the penalty. The Canucks are 7th and last in the Eastern Division, 3 points back of Detroit, who lost today, and 6 points back of Buffalo, who are playing in Boston tonight. Face off in the center ice zone. Goldsworthy shoots the puck in. Wilkins is back to pick it up. Canucks with the man advantage have not been effective in 2 previous Minnesota penalties. In fact, the North Stars scored on one of those occasions. Boudria is at center. Shoots the puck in. Kurtenbach racing in after it. Maniago comes out to shoot it around on the boards, and it's picked up by Goldsworthy. Stick handling at his own blue line. Carries over on the left, turning back in his own zone as he rags the puck. Passes back to Moans. Out at center to Hampson. He lost it there to Talon. Talon at the Minnesota line. Shoots it in. Goes in behind the goal. Moans gets to it. Boudria checking him. The puck is tipped off the boards to Hampson. Hampson tried to hit Goldsworthy, but it was intercepted. Now Dale Talon with the puck. He's at center ice. Down the middle, over the Minnesota blue line, trying to go through. Lost the puck. Goldsworthy cleared it out. And Talon is being held in the Minnesota zone by Reed as he's trying to get back onside. Kurtenbach takes it in. It's offside. Now we'll have a beef here. Reed was all over Talon in the Minnesota zone as he was on top the Vancouver player and holding him down on the ice. And Talon was trying to get back out to get onside and was unable to do so. 1 minute and 2 seconds left in the first period. It's 2-0 for Minnesota. Goldsworthy has scored both the goals. Face-off at the Minnesota line. Kurtenbach plays it back to center ice. To Talon, his pass intercepted. And now it's loose at the Vancouver line where Wilkins is dumped. And it's cleared back by Oliver to Moans. On the right to Reed. And the North Stars have been very effective killing these penalties. Moans in his own zone on the left. Out to Oliver on the left wing at center ice. On the right side, intercepted by Wilkins. Wilkins skates at center. In on the defense. Over the line. Passes on the left to Kurtenbach. He shoots. And it missed on the short side. Kurtenbach goes into the corner to get the puck. Coming away from the boards. To the left point to Wilkins. Moving in. Wilkins shoots. Way wide. Came off the boards to Oliver. Oliver clears it out to center ice and into Canuck territory. 20 seconds left in the first period. Wilkins turns at his own line. He's at center ice. Over the Minnesota blue line. He stops. Try to put it in front. It deflects over to Boudria. Boudria shoots it away wide. Went off into the corner, and Oliver shoots it down the ice with 5 seconds left in the period. I think the period will end before the puck is touched. There's the end of the first period. That's the first period of today's game. The score, the Minnesota North Stars 2, the Vancouver Canucks nothing. A summary in a moment.
It's the real thing. That's the way it should be. What the world wants to see is the real thing. Coca-Cola. That's the way it is. With a bottle of Coke. It's the real thing.
Quincy Jones for Coke.
We've combined the color and excitement of hockey with the real refreshment of Coca-Cola and the natural taste of Sprite to give you our special hockey poster offer. Right now, you can get 6 bright 24 by 35-inch full-size color posters of your favorite hockey stars. Yvonne Cornwallier, Dale Talon, Dave Keon, Derek Sanderson, Frank Mahovlich, and Bobby Hull. For full details, see the specially marked 26-ounce bottles of Coca-Cola and Sprite.
Ladies and gentlemen, 300 tickets now for the Canuck Booster Club.
After one period of play, the Minnesota North Stars lead the Vancouver Canucks 2-0. That was the final score in a completed NHL game this afternoon. Chicago defeated Detroit 2-0. Down the coast in Oakland, California is leading Los Angeles 1-0 in the first period. Bill Goldsworthy opened the scoring in this game with his 31st of the year on a breakaway on a perfect pass from Jude Drouin. Goldsworthy on the right wing picked up the pass just outside the Vancouver blue line and streaked into the clear. Fired from about 10 feet in front of Hodge with a perfect high shot. Gibbs also got an assist with Drouin on Goldsworthy's goal at 5:19. Goldsworthy also scored the second goal of the period while killing a penalty. He took a long shot as he moved over the Vancouver blue line on the right. The play started at the Minnesota line. Dale Talon had the puck, lost it off his stick. It went right to Doug Moans, who threw it rink wide on the right to Goldsworthy. As he went over the Vancouver line, he took a long slap shot. Charlie Hodge appeared to have it. It hit his goal stick, but it sort of flipped up into the air. He didn't know where it was, and it just sort of blooped on into the goal off the goaltender's stick. Goldsworthy from Moans at 11:42. That's Goldsworthy's 32nd of the year. Penalties in the first period. Harvey of Minnesota holding at 7:59. Gibbs of Minnesota boarding at 10:05. And Harvey of Minnesota hooking at 17:59. The goaltending of Cesar Maniago was one of the outstanding features of that opening period. He made some great stops, particularly off Rosaire Paymont during one of the Canuck power play opportunities. Shots on goal in the first period by Vancouver 12, by Minnesota 7. After one period of play, the Minnesota North Stars 2, the Vancouver Canucks nothing. There'll be more NHL hockey in 3 minutes.
98 CKNW.
This is the news.
Maury Hesketh reporting NW News headlines. External Affairs Minister Mitchell Sharp has defended foreign aid loans made to African nations during his recent trip. Said the aid involves large sales of Canadian products, which should help provide work for many Canadians. A Vancouver youth has been charged with attempting to extort money from a city businessman. Charged is 17-year-old Henry Leibowitz, 910 West 22nd. 2 youths were arrested at Queen Elizabeth Park after A.J. Sachs, 1516 Westbrook Crescent, took $500 to a designated spot in the park in answer to a threatening letter. An 18-year-old youth was released. Injuries suffered last night in a head-on collision on the 401 freeway near Abbotsford have claimed the life of a fourth person, 20-year-old Ernest Penner of Abbotsford. Killed outright were Colin Murdoch and his 12-year-old son Bruce of Langley and 18-year-old Menno John Tikrob of Abbotsford. U.S. Senator George McGovern, a Democrat, says he will introduce legislation Tuesday calling for recognition of Red China as the only Chinese government. The world of sports, the NHL, Minnesota leading Canucks 2-0 after one period. Final score, Chicago 2, Detroit 0. The weather, sunny tomorrow, becoming cloudy Monday evening. Low tonight, near 30, currently 50. That's the news. More news headlines following the second period of the hockey game.
The second period of tonight's game is brought to you by Players Cigarettes.
It's 1877. You're walking down a narrow, cobblestone street. Suddenly you become aware of a distinctive aroma. It's the warm, rich smell of tobacco, and it's coming from a new shop you hadn't noticed before. You go in. A young man is blending and wrapping freshly cut tobacco. You're impressed with the care the young man takes and the quality of the tobacco. You buy a packet, and as you leave, you look at the name on the shop door. It says, John Player. John Player started with one small store, but his business grew quickly because it was based on quality. That's why the name Players means so much today. You get the finest tobacco and the finest quality from every product carrying the Players name. Players. Quality in the making.
Back at the Pacific Coliseum here in Vancouver, 2-0 Minnesota North Stars over the Vancouver Canucks. Final 2-0 Chicago, winning their game this afternoon over Detroit, and Gotti and Bobby Hull scoring the goals. 2-0 for the Oakland Seals, or the California Golden Seals over Los Angeles. At the end of the first period, Hickey and Williams getting the goals. My guest today, Bill Good, just back from another trip, freelance broadcaster of Vancouver, and King Clancy of the Toronto Maple Leafs. And to get away from the game we're watching here this afternoon for a moment, King, I imagine you must be pretty proud of those Toronto Maple Leafs. I didn't think they could do it. New York, known as a big rugged club, and last night they came out in the second period to hit, and they came out second best.
Well, we had a game with New York on Thursday, in New York, and it was a rough and ready hockey game, and they beat us 1-0. And in the game last night, of course, it was just a duplicate kind of a game, and we wound up beating them 3-1. This is a pretty good hockey team that we have in Toronto this year. We're playing without Ullman, as you know, and we had been playing without Keon and Henderson. And we didn't have Dory last night. So this club is a pretty solid hockey club. Where we're solid and where we have it on the rest of them is in between the pipes. We have the two best goalkeepers, in my opinion, in the National Hockey League. That goes for any team. That goes for the Canadians or Chicago or anybody else. These two kids I call them, Perron and Plant, they've been magnificent. Plus,
particularly Plant, and you talk to any hockey player, Bill and King, an opposing team, and they'll tell you that without doubt this guy is so far ahead of anybody else in the National Hockey League, there's no comparison.
Well, that may be so, but what confuses me to a certain extent, King, is the fact that we saw this club 3 times here this year, the Toronto Hockey Club. We had great success with them, as you know, before your club got going, and it isn't just the goalkeeping that's made a hockey team out of Toronto in the last 3 or 4 months. What else is it? Something else has happened to them besides goalkeeping.
Well, Bill, to me, the main part of the hockey team is in the goalkeeping. But everybody else has been playing. Allman is having a great year. Keon is having a great year, and Henderson is having a big year. A big plus that we have that nobody talks anything about is the kid that we got from Tulsa that we brought him up this year, young Spencer. He, to me, has put a lot of life into this hockey club. He's going along this wing, and he checks his wing very well. We've got a well-balanced club now. We've got Billy McMillan, who played on the national team here. To me, the most rugged. They talk about Paymont out here, and they talk about Hadfield, and they can talk about all these rugged hockey players. Give me Billy McMillan. He's the most rugged hockey player in this league. And here's a kid that came out of no place, and he wound up scoring 20-some goals. Now, this to me is got to be the secret of the Toronto success. Plus Johnny McClellan, who has done a great job in behind the bench, and Gregory doing the job that he has done as general manager, making the trades that he has made. Everybody thinks that we're lucky when we got this goalkeeper. I think we are too, because we got a kid that's only 25 years old, and to me, everybody, including the manager of this hockey club here, thinks that he's one of the great goalkeepers in the National Hockey League. I'm talking about Bud Poyle now.
That's right. There's no argument there. Bud had Favell and Perron, and he thought Perron was the better of the two.
You know, Clancy, or King, rather, there's something that rather amazes me about your hockey club again, and that's, I didn't think Toronto had much patience, and for a while at the start of this season, there was some doubt in a lot of minds outside of the Toronto organization. We don't know what goes on within the organization, that Jim, Gregory, and Johnny might be walking on pretty thin ice for a while, but they had the patience to go along with them.
Bill, I don't think that there was any cause of alarm with Johnny or Jim Gregory. A lot of people thought that we were going to have a little bit of trouble in there, but at no time did the Toronto organization give up on them, and we're not giving up on them. And I have to say, you had Gregory out here. I have to say Gregory is doing a magnificent job in the managerial end of it, and I have to go the same for Johnny McClellan. Of course, McClellan has been in behind the bench before. He's had a year in behind the bench, and he's gone along with the players, and everybody in the Toronto organization are very proud of these two fellas.
King, there was something. I was in Toronto all last week. I just got back yesterday, and I was reading the newspapers. This Davy Keon is getting more publicity right now as a businessman, Al, than anything I've ever seen in my life. He held a press conference the other day to announce Dave Keon Incorporated, to point out that he is now in the marketplace along with the rest of the big names in hockey. A rather unusual switch, isn't it?
Yes, it is, and I thought that Keon should be in this business before everybody else is getting into it, and I couldn't see where Keon didn't deserve to be in this end of it, because he's a great fella, a great kid, and he's a dedicated hockey player, Bill, as you know, and he's the captain of our hockey club, and I'm glad to see that Davy Keon finally is being recognized. I think that Davy Keon this year should win the Lady Byng Trophy. He's got 2 minutes in penalties, and I wish you see the penalty that they gave him for the 2 minutes. It was a real laugh.
You got a rookie in there somewhere that's a candidate? You haven't, have you?
Oh, well, yes, we have 2 or 3 fellas that are candidates for the rookie award. We have Billy McMillan, one. He's a candidate for the rookie award, and I think that. But I think that perhaps that the kid that playing with Buffalo, to me, he's been the best hockey player that I have seen out of the rookies this year, Perra. He's been fantastic. He played terrific hockey against us, Bill. I don't know how he did out on the coast here, but he played great against us.
He's been great out here, too. I mean, there's no question he's a great hockey player. We're still impressed with this kid here over the long haul. Talent, I think he's going to be a great hockey player, King.
Well, he's got to be a great hockey player for you. He's a big man. He's a good stick handler. The only thing that I saw him as I saw him playing for the Marlborough last year, he didn't play it too rugged. Not rugged enough for me because, well, of course, I'm one of these fellas that I demand of a hockey player perhaps something that some of these other fellas. I want to see the two-way hockey player. I don't care whether he's a great goal scorer or not. I want to see the fella that goes up and down the wing as a forward, checks his wing and plays it tough, and I want to see the defenseman taking the man out. I'm sick and tired of watching him going along stick checking these fellas coming in there, because once the players know that you're just stick checking them, they take a lot of liberties with you.
I want to thank you, gentlemen, for being my guest. We'd like to go on, and King, could you come back at the intermission next time, because many other things we'd like to talk about.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you, King, Clancy, and Bill. Now the scores in the other games: 2-1 for Oakland over Los Angeles. Lonsbury has just scored for LA. 2-0 Chicago over Detroit final. Bobby Hull getting a goal there. And the other one, Angotti. It's 2-0 here for Minnesota North Stars over the Vancouver Canucks. Stand by for the second period face-off.
Almost 100 years ago, a lawyer's son did something lawyers' sons never did. He opened a tobacco shop. His name was John Player. He had a feeling for tobacco. He cut, measured, blended, and wrapped only the finest. And day after day, people came to his little store to buy their favorite blends. And because John Player insisted on strict standards of quality, his business grew even more. Today, John Player's strict standards still apply. Player's cigarettes are carefully blended from the finest tobacco. No cigarettes could receive more care. And you get this fine quality from every member of the Players family. That's why the name Players means so much today. Players, quality in the making.
We now go to the second period with the Minnesota North Stars leading the Vancouver Canucks 2-0, and we'll have a goaltending change for the Vancouver Canucks. Charlie Hodge played the first period for Vancouver and is now being replaced by Dunk Wilson. And the announcement is now being made as Wilson is being warmed up at the south end of the Pacific Coliseum to our left. Dunk Wilson, young goaltender in his first full season in the National Hockey League, drafted out of the Philadelphia organization. He's come in a number of games this season in this situation. And he'll have his birthday tomorrow. He'll be, let's see, what night, I gotta figure out this now. 1948, 1971. We carry the 3, bring down the 23 years old. On March the 22nd, tomorrow. Now you know why I flunked mathematics. Dunk will be 23 years old tomorrow. Being warmed up now by his Vancouver teammates. Checking his record, his goals against average is 4.32 in 30 games. Although in several of those games, he has appeared in only a period or two. A few times this year, Hal Lako has brought him in during the hockey game rather than in a starting role. He's seen very little activity on home ice, too. Most of his work has been on the road. As we start the second period, the teams are at full strength. Canucks with Corrigan, Taylor, and Hall. The defensive Quinn and Doak. Ted Hampson at center for Minnesota, obtained in the late season trade from California Seals. Treese on the left wing, Harvey on the right. The defense is Moans and Reed. Hampson with the puck in his own zone, clearing it down the ice. Doak skating back after it. And icing is called on Minnesota as Doak touches the puck. The referee, Lloyd Gilmore. The linesmen are Bob Waddell and John D'Amico. California Seals leading Los Angeles 2-1 late in the first period. Lonsbury has scored for Los Angeles to cut the lead after Hickey and Billy Hickey and Williams had scored for the Seals. Play in the Minnesota zone. The Canucks, Ted Taylor with the puck getting set. He shoots it, deflects high off Moans' stick and goes up into the crowd. "21 seconds gone. Second period, 2-0 for Minnesota on a pair of goals by Bill Goldsworthy. In the first period, Vancouver outshot Minnesota 12-7. Face-off right in front of Maniago in the Minnesota goal. North Stars get possession. Gibbs takes it in behind the net. Swings out on the left, passes back to Grant. Grant picking up speed, carries over on the right side to his own line. Now he's up the middle at center, fakes a shot, goes to the Vancouver line, and Talon took the puck away from him. Talon shoots it in. Maniago tips it to the left corner. Comes off the glass to Harris, hands it right to Paymont in front, and Boudria couldn't get the pass. It was a bit behind him. Gibbs in the right corner with the puck. Shoots it around in the left boards to Grant. Grant has scored 30 goals this year. Now he feeds it at center to Druin. A long drive, hit Talon and deflects to the corner. Druin gets it off the boards. In front for Grant. Into the corner to Druin. Plays it back out in front to Gibbs. He shoots. It was blocked by Wilkins. Rosaire Paymont carries out on the left. Backhand pass for Boudria. Deflects into the Minnesota zone. Harris clears it off the boards to Grant. Now to Druin. On the left side at center ice. A long drive is caught by Wilson, although it was going off the target. He leaves it behind the goal for Wilkins. On the left wing now for Popeil. On the right wing to Paymont. It went off the boards, and Boudria goes back to pick it up. On the left to Wilkins. At center to Boudria. Down the middle. Over the Minnesota line. Swings to the right. Taken to the side by Harris, and the pass went back and was intercepted by Grant. His pass too far ahead for Druin, and Talon has the puck at his own line. To Wilkins on the left. It's 2-0 for Minnesota early in the second period. Gibbs takes a long pass as he intercepts at his own line and gives it to Druin on the right side to Goldsworthy, and on the defense, cutting in on Wilkins. Goldsworthy shot deflects wide. It goes into the corner. Grant threw it out in front, and it was tucked away by Popeil, who's going to get a penalty here for slashing at Goldsworthy as he was trying to stay with him going down the ice. The score, Minnesota 2, Vancouver nothing. This is NHL hockey from Vancouver.
It's a great game. Why not match it with a great cigarette? Players. When you light up a Players, you get all the real satisfaction that comes from the finest quality tobacco. Try Players cigarettes. You'll discover there's quality in the making.
The penalty is to Paul Popeil of the Canucks. That's the first Vancouver penalty of the game. Slashing was the call, and 1:54 of this second period, the time of the penalty. He was checking Goldsworthy, and Goldsworthy was a stride or so ahead of him, and Popeil slashed him as he went down the ice. And now the North Stars, with the man advantage, have a very potent 5 out there in their power play. Druin back to Goldsworthy, playing the right point. Passes it back on the left boards for Grant, to the left point to Doug Moans. Moans holding the puck, passes it the side of the net to Parise. Now to Grant, he shoots, and it's blocked by... No, it went on into the net, they score! Doak attempted to block it, and it may have hit him, but it went on into the short side, and Minnesota leads 3-0. I didn't see that puck get on through into the goal. It may have went off a defenseman. Both Doak and Quinn were in front. Doak went down to try and block the shot, but it found its way through the crowd on into the net at 2:07 of this second period, and it came with the Canucks shorthanded, and of course Popeil comes right out of the penalty box as the goal is scored. That low drive from the left with 2 Canuck defensemen and the goaltender all over on the short side, but somehow it got through the traffic into the net. And it's 3-0 for Minnesota. They've scored 1 goal when the team's at even strength, 1 when Minnesota was shorthanded, and 1 on their power play. Pat Quinn on the left at center, shoots the puck in the North Star zone. It's in behind the net. Schmatt's going in after it, but Oliver got to it first. In the corner to Labossiere. His back pass, picked up by Moans, can't clear it out. Doak at the right point, a long drive. Maniago caught it and swept it to the left for Oliver. Minnesota playing very well here today, and full value for the lead. Here's a long drive wide of the Vancouver goal. Puck comes off the boards to Bob Schmatz, turning in his own zone, carries quickly out to center ice. A drive goes wide of the Minnesota goal, comes off the end boards. Maniago steers it to the corner. Doug Moans picked it up and takes it in behind the net. Around on the right boards to Nanny. Quinn moves in to check him, but Nanny got the puck, failed to get it out. Schmatz keeps it in, tried to get it to Kurtenbach, but it was intercepted. Now Labossiere feeds it to the Vancouver line, and it's knocked down there by Pat Quinn. It's centered at Johnson. Johnson failed to get through the defense. And Minnesota start back now. Labossiere on the left at center, in on the defense, over the Vancouver line, lost the puck, and Quinn picks it up. Pat Quinn starts out on the right. He's at center, shoots the puck in the Minnesota zone. Maniago out of the nets, leaves it behind the goal for Nanny. Canucks change on the move. Oliver misses Nanny's pass. The puck slides loose in the Vancouver zone. That's the 31st goal of the year for Danny Grant. Getting credit for that 3rd Minnesota goal from Parise and Moans. Corrigan Over the Minnesota line against Harris. Harris gets the puck in the corner. Corrigan goes after him, but Harris cleared the puck off to the right. It's played off the boards out to center ice. It picked up by Hampson, and it's called an offside pass as Hampson was streaking for the net, but it was judged a two-line pass, and that stopped the play. The score, Minnesota 3, Vancouver nothing. More hockey action in a moment. One thing a hockey player needs is balance. That's what makes a good cigarette, too. Take Players. Players cigarettes are a perfect balance of the finest tobacco blends. Choose Players. There's quality in the making. In the Minnesota zone, a backhander is flipped by Dale Talon and caught by Barry Gibbs, who I think is going to get a penalty here for holding on to the puck, or a straight holding penalty. And there's some argument now from the North Star captain. Veteran defenseman Ted Harris questions Gilmore's call, but it'll be a North Star penalty. And Gibbs is going to the penalty box. Now, I think it's going to be for closing his hand on the puck, as he caught the shot by Dale Talon.
Number 2, Barry Gibbs, 2 minutes for closing his hand on the puck. The time, 4:06.
An unusual call, but you see it once in a while, and Gibbs is in the penalty box. North Stars leading 3-0, and their big guns have scored the goals. Goldsworthy with a pair, and Grant with 1. Goldsworthy has 32 goals this year. Grant now has 31. Play in the Minnesota zone. Corrigan racing towards the net. The puck got away from him, and it's cleared out to center ice, where Talon has it. Goldsworthy checked him, and Taylor takes over for Vancouver at center. Over the Minnesota line on the left. Goldsworthy got a piece of him, but Goldsworthy fell. Talon from the left point took a shot that deflects into the corner. Moans took a whack at it there, got it to Hampson, lost it to Cullen along the boards. It comes back to the point to Talon. Here's his shot. Whistles high and wide. It went up into the crowd. Four minutes, 34 seconds gone in the second period. It's 3-0 for Minnesota. Chicago defeated Detroit 2-0 today. And California is leading Los Angeles 2-1 in their game this afternoon. Face off to the left of Maniago. Minnesota get possession. Moans checked by Hall behind the net. Hall centered it. Cullen's backhander. Maniago stopped it. Turned it to the right corner. Hall taken into the boards by Moans. They battle in the corner. 5 players then jam in. And some pushing and shoving goes on after the whistle between Taylor and Goldsworthy. And the play is stopped. But no penalties will be assessed. Canucks are going to make a change in their power play. Special hello this afternoon to all you hospital patients and the shut-ins, those who can't get out to the games. Hope you're enjoying this one along the Canucks Hockey Network. We're early in the second period, and Minnesota's leading 3-0. And it's been better hockey, actually, today than we've seen in quite a few of the recent games. Although some of the Vancouver fans may not agree because the Canucks are down 3-0, but Minnesota's playing very well here today. Talon at the left point, moving in, puts it across in front. It deflects just wide off Paymont's stick, just missing the far corner. Boudria picks it up. Boudria played it across for Paymont to Cullen at the right point. Cullen shoots. Maniago made the save and held the puck. Big, tall Cesar Maniago is really playing well in that Minnesota goal. He's been playing every game for them lately. In their last 11 starts, they've won 6, lost 3, and tied 2. Maniago's been getting a lot of work lately and playing very well, leading them to the playoffs. In the Minnesota zone, Moans plays it off the boards and out as Cullen failed to keep it onside at the right point. 52 seconds left in the Minnesota penalty to Gibbs. Talon, a long pass to Paymont at his own line on the right wing. It's centered to Boudria, too far ahead. The puck slides in the North Star zone. Reed gets to it first, shoots it around in the boards. Cullen picked it up in the corner, checked by Hampson. Harris got the puck in behind the net. A jam up behind the goal, and Hampson comes out with the puck. Boudria checking him. Paymont keeping it onside along the left boards. Reed picked it up and cleared it out. 23 seconds left of the North Star penalty. Minnesota's been very effective in killing their penalties. Canucks have had a couple of scoring chances while they've had the man advantage, and Maniago has thwarted those chances. Paymont back for Boudria, has to wait for Paymont to get back onside. Cullen then takes it in offside. Kurtenbach was late coming out. He was trapped in Minnesota territory. The score, Minnesota 3, Vancouver nothing, from the Coliseum in Vancouver.
You've got to be good to make it in hockey, and it's the same with cigarettes. Players has been making good cigarettes for more than 100 years, and they're still thinking of new ways to please player smokers. Players please because there's quality in the making.
Canucks organizing in their own end just as Gibbs steps back on the ice, and Minnesota's back at full strength after successfully killing another penalty, their 4th of the day. Gary Doak for the Canucks at center. Shoots the puck into the right of Maniago. Comes off the boards. Gibbs slapped it to the boards. Boudria picked it up, takes a whack at it. And Maniago stopped it on the short side, and he's very alert. Covering on the short side on that long slap shot that was on target. A pass on the left for Grant. Tips off his stick. He goes in with Doak into the corner in the Canucks zone. They go in along the end boards, and Paymont gets the puck. Drouin checked him in behind Wilson. But Paymont got the puck to Doak. Now to Boudria. Boudria across to Paymont at center ice. It was knocked off his stick by Goldsworthy, and Gibbs takes over at his own line. To Drouin at center ice. Shoots the puck in. Dunk Wilson stopped it. He's taken over from Charlie Hodge in this second period. Played around on the boards for Paymont in the right wing. He's out there for a long shift. Now to Corrigan at center ice. As they change on the move, Corrigan over the line, back to Popeil. He had his shot blocked by the defense, and he just failed on a second try. Quinn out at center with the puck now. To the Minnesota line for Paymont, who's still on the ice, and they'll try and get him off. There's a shot by Goldsworthy, scores! Goldsworthy coasting in on the right wing, hit the far corner as he raced to get to the puck and gets his hat trick. The puck went loose into the Vancouver zone, and Goldsworthy just on sheer hustle got to it first and hit a low slap shot to the far corner. And the Canucks argue that there was an offside on the play as Goldsworthy streaked in there, just walked in, and as soon as he got to the puck about 30 feet out on the right, quite a sharp angle, he slapped it to the far corner, and it's 4-0 Minnesota. Goldsworthy's 3rd goal of the afternoon at 7:15 of this second period. Well, he's been the hot goal scorer for Minnesota lately. And Coach Halika was saying on the Canucks Coacher Show yesterday that they have to stop Goldsworthy, Grant, and Drouin. That's the big line. If they can keep them in check, they'll be all right. But they haven't been able to do it today. Talon in his own zone. Out to Corrigan, starting up the ice. Corrigan at center on the right to Hall. Over the Minnesota line. A shot is stopped by Maniago. Big rebound. Taylor shoots. He just shot wide. It's played around on the boards and out to center by Drouin. It's tipped back in again. And it's brought out on the left wing now by Parise. For Harvey, checked by Talon, who fell. The puck is underneath him and the play is stopped. Harris gets the assist on Goldsworthy's goal. The crowd is applauding Goldsworthy's hat trick as it's announced his 3rd goal of the game. Goldsworthy from Harris at 7:15. The Canucks have not yet been shut out in the entire season, and today they're playing their 70th game. Play stopped off a face-off in Vancouver territory, and the Canucks are going to pick up a penalty here, I believe. Taylor is going to get the gate. Protests mildly as he goes to the penalty box. Now the Canucks will be shorthanded for the 2nd time this afternoon, trailing 4-0.
To number 16, Ted Taylor. 2 minutes for tripping. The time 7:47.
Tripping penalty to Ted Taylor puts the Canucks shorthanded. Kurtenbach, Johnson, Schilla, his first shift of the day, and Wilkins for Vancouver. Hampson and Kurtenbach face off. Puck comes back to Moans at the left point. To the right point to Goldsworthy. Put it in front for Harvey. He shoots, and Wilson barely stopped it. Parise gets it in the corner. Lays it out to Harvey, turning along the boards. Rookie Buster Harvey back to the left point to Doug Moans, moving in a slap shot. Wilson stopped it. It went off his pads, and I don't think he saw it. It went to the corner. Johnson trying to get it out. Along the boards is checked. The puck kicks loose. It's picked up by Wilkins. Behind the net to Schilla. Schilla tied up behind the goal by Harvey. Goes back the other way. Schilla struggling to get to the puck. Still has it on the end boards. Parise checked him. The puck is picked up by Hampson behind the Vancouver goal. In front. Comes back to Moans at the left point. Over to the right point to Goldsworthy. Goldsworthy winds up, passes into the corner. Wilkins goes in after it against Ted Hampson. Then there's a jam up along the boards. Hampson got his stick on it. To Goldsworthy. He shoots. Wilson kicked it out. It was on the net. Moans at the left point, to the left corner to Parise, back to Moans, checked while shooting. The puck went into the end board. Shella checks Parise. Hampson gets the puck in the corner to Harvey. Coming out of the corner, getting in close, he shoots. And Wilson barely stops it and holds the puck out with Hampson hammering away at the rebound. The score, Minnesota 4, Vancouver nothing. Canucks hockey continues in a moment.
Hockey's been around almost as long as there's been ice to skate on, and it's at the peak of its popularity. Like Players, the cigarette with established quality and dependably good taste. Players please, always have, always will, because there's quality in the making.
We're nearing the 9-minute mark of the second period, 4-0 for Minnesota. 54 seconds left in Ted Taylor's penalty. Minnesota pressing with that man advantage. Play in the Vancouver zone. Nanny along the boards, hit by Quinn. They jam in the corner. Now Quinn swinging his stick around a bit there, but the play goes on. Now Nanny gets the puck in the corner to Oliver, to the left point to Harris. His shot blocked by Quinn, and the puck went off into the corner right in front. Labassiere puts it behind the net, and Paymont picked it up there. Quinn is roughing up Nanny away from the play, and they drop their sticks, but they just stand there glaring at each other, very close range. Their gloves stayed on, and there are no punches thrown. But they're both going to get penalties anyway. Quinn and Nanny, or at least Quinn is getting the gate. Both penalty boxes swing open. So it looks like they're both going to get penalties at 9:16 of this second period. The play's starting to get a little rougher now. Canucks a little frustrated by the 4-0 score. Starting to hit a little more, although there hasn't been too much hitting in this game. Nanny of Minnesota and Quinn of Vancouver have both been sent to the penalty box.
Minnesota penalty to number 23, Lou Nanny, 2 minutes for roughing. Vancouver penalty to number 3, Pat Quinn, 2 minutes for roughing. The time, 9:16.
The roughing minors to Nanny and Quinn. Minnesota's had 5 minor penalties today. The Canucks have had 3. Right now, Minnesota still with the man advantage. 5 against 4. Gibbs moving in, a shot, they score! I think it went off Wilkins into the net. Barry Gibbs, shot from the right side. It looked like it hit Dunk Wilson's stick and deflected, or rather hit Barry Wilkins' stick and deflected past Dunk Wilson. Barry Gibbs for Minnesota. He was just cruising in on the right. He got within about 20, 25 feet. Wilkins was watching him all the way, and as he shot, it looked like it hit Wilkins and went high, deflecting into the goal, and Dunk Wilson had little chance on that one. 9:27 of this second period. It's now 5-0 for the North Stars. And that goal came with the Canucks shorthanded. A power play goal. The second of the afternoon for the North Stars. Play in the Vancouver zone. Wilkins starting out on the right to Doak. Doak's at center ice. In on the defense. On the left to Boudria. Out in front for Paymont. It's checked away. Minnesota coming back with Drouin at center ice. In on the Vancouver line. Cuts over on the right. Still has the puck. Turning inside the blue line. Throws it across to the left side to Harris. Back to Drouin. Getting set. Checked by Boudria, so he passes to Gibbs. Gibbs shoots. It whistles wide. Comes off the boards to Grant on the left wing. Grant checked by Doak. They go in along the boards and hold the puck to stop the play. It was Gibbs from Harris and Labassiere at 9:27. And Gibbs, defenseman from Lloydminster, doesn't score that many goals. That's his 5th of the year. Minnesota have scored 2 power play goals, 1 goal while killing a penalty, and have scored 2 goals with the teams at even strength. Right now, the teams are playing 5 aside with Nanny and Quinn in the penalty box. 9:48 left in the second period on the Players' Cigarette scoreboard. It's 5-0 Minnesota. John Shella getting the puck for the Canucks into the left corner to Barry Wilkins. Having trouble on the end boards. Checked by Drouin, and Minnesota's really got command of this hockey game at this stage. Wilkins carries out the middle to center. On the left wing for Taylor. Hopped over his stick. Maniago clears the puck to the corner where Taylor picked it up along the boards, lost it to Drouin. Slides it to an open wing, and Moans goes over to pick it up. Out to Grant. Checked by Shella. Puck went back to Moans. On the right to Reed. Reed's at center. Taylor goes after him and bumps him. And the puck goes loose into the Vancouver zone. Wilkins picks it up. Wilkins carries out at center ice. Lost it to Druin. Druin might get a clear break here. Schella's getting back on him. Druin shoots, and he missed the far corner as Schella came across to cut down the angle. Loose puck in the Vancouver zone. Wilkins gets the puck. 12 seconds left in the penalties to Quinn and Nanny. John Schella at center. On the left to Taylor. Over the Minnesota line. Moving in on the left is Czech. Got the puck back. Taylor back to Wilkins. Moving in on the left. Back to Taylor. Getting set. He shoots. Maniago stopped it. Quinn and Nanny come back on the ice. And the puck is cleared down the ice. Doug Wilson comes out of the goal to clear it ahead to John Schella as the teams change on the move. Schella on the right wing for Kurtenbach. It went off the end of his stick. Minnesota back the other way. Parise at center to Hampson over the Vancouver line. On the right wing to Harvey. Down in the right corner. Tried to center the puck. It went in behind the goal. Parise gets it in the corner. Throws it in front and Harvey just missed it. Gibbs at the right point. A long slap shot. Misses the Vancouver goal. Harris at the left point. Here's his shot. Deflects high. Minnesota all over the Canucks right now. And the Canucks having trouble getting out. Wilkins gets the puck, clears it off the boards and down the ice. Icing the puck. Gibbs going back to touch it. Vancouver called for icing in desperation. The score, Minnesota 5, Vancouver nothing, playing in Vancouver.
Hockey is the big action game that pleases so many people. Pleasing people has been players' game too. Players please. Always have, always will. Because there's quality in the making.
7:59 left to play in the second period on the Players' Cigarette scoreboard. 5-0 Minnesota. Johnson trying to come out of his own zone. He's on left wing with Ray Cullen now at center ice and Bob Schmatz in the right wing. Now Talon with the puck at his own line, coming out on the left. Passes on the left wing, too far ahead for Johnson, and Gibbs picks up the puck in his own zone for Minnesota. Goes in behind the goal, swings out on the left. Got away from Schmatz. Gibbs carries quickly to center ice on the left, at the Vancouver line. Still moving in on the net as he tried to center the puck. It tips back to Parise. He shoots, it's blocked, he shoots again. Wilson grabbed it and held it. Parise coming close. It was 2-0 at the end of the first period on a pair of goals by Goldsworthy. And here in the second, Grant, Goldsworthy, and Gibbs have scored for the North Stars, who really need 2 more victories to nail down a playoff spot, and they want them right now, the way they're playing these days. Both Minnesota and Philadelphia have come on, well, late in the season. And Pittsburgh and L.A. at this stage appear to be out of the picture, although mathematically are still in the hunt for a Western Division playoff spot. Face off to the right of Dunk Wilson. Hall intercepts a pass, carries to center ice. On the left wing to Taylor. He takes a shot that hit Reed and deflects high out of play into the spectators to the right of goaltender Cesar Maniago, who's showing his relatives in the stands today how to play goal. A lot of friends and neighbors in this area, and Maniago's played very well today. Canucks still haven't been shut out this season, but he's blanked them so far today, and we have 7:21 left in the second period on the Players' Cigarette scoreboard. Corrigan told to move out of the circle, and so Hall goes into face-off against Parise. The puck comes out to center ice. Doak picked it up and dumps it in. Goes down in the corner to Doug Moans. Moans, back pass is intercepted by Hall in the corner. Out in front, it went off Taylor's stick when he was checked, and the North Stars come out. Harvey at center ice. In on the Vancouver defense with Parise. Harvey goes into the right corner, back for Parise, who lost the puck to Corrigan. His pass too far ahead for Hall. Moans at center on the left wing for Hampson. His pass knocked down by Taylor at center ice on the right. Over the Minnesota line, back to Hall. Hall moving in, failed to get through, and he was checked, and Hampson gets the puck. Hampson, a left wing pass for Parise. Racing in against Doak. Parise into the corner, getting the puck, taken out by Doak, who takes him into the corner, and Hall gets the puck. Flips it ahead to Corrigan. Corrigan rink wide for Taylor, too far ahead, and those passes aren't clicking today. 6.5 minutes left in the second period. Canucks change on the move. Talon has the puck at center ice. Dumped into the Minnesota line. Moans passes across to Ted Hampson at center. Hampson's pass deflects loose. Reed follows up with the puck, shoots it in the Vancouver zone as both teams complete line changes. Oliver centered the puck as he stole it on the inboards, but it was intercepted. Murray Hall ahead to Andre Boudria at center ice, checked by Harris, but still has the puck over the line, and Oliver's intercepts. Oliver Now to Labossiere, moving in on the right, he shoots. Wilson stopped it. A big rebound. Wilson comes out of the goal to clear it to center ice. Harris for Minnesota, across to Gibbs on the right, gets to center and dumps it in. Dunk Wilson out of the Vancouver goal, stops the puck. Almost stolen by Oliver, who goes into the corner, tries to dig out the puck, is tied up by Talon, and the play is stopped. The score, Minnesota 5, Vancouver nothing. More NHL hockey in a moment.
Goals are the big thing in hockey, and great goals are worth achieving. Like the winning quality of players. It's prime good tobacco taste. Players please. Always have, always will. Because there's quality in the making.
5.5 minutes to go in the second period as John Schella clears the puck into Minnesota territory. Goes in behind the goal. Cleared around to the right boards for Nanny. Check. Boudria gets it to Paymont. Paymont moving in from the left, trying to get a shot, but Harris bumped him off the puck. Harris like a hard rock on that Minnesota defense. Harris plays it ahead on the left for Oliver, across to Labossiere, intercepted by Wilkins, who dumps it in. Was in behind the goal. Maniago leaves it there for Barry Gibbs, coming out from behind the net. A pass too far ahead for Murray Oliver. Puck slides loose into the Vancouver zone. Schella back to touch it, and Minnesota's called for icing the puck.
Ladies and gentlemen, in other NHL action this afternoon, California leads Los Angeles 2-1 at the end of the first period.
Announcing the score from Oakland, with California leading Los Angeles 2-1 there. Some of the fans applaud because some of them want to see Vancouver finish with the worst record in the NHL to get the first pick in the amateur draft. But the players want to finish 5th and still feel they have a chance, but they'll have to really get going because they have only 7 games left after this one today, and the Canucks are down 5-0 here today. 4:47 left in the second period on the Players' Cigarette scoreboard. Wayne Mackey on the left wing at center ice, been used sparingly today. Flipped the puck high and hit Druin. Bounces over to Goldsworthy at the Vancouver line, and slap shot, and Wilson got his right arm on that one. Schella deep in the right corner for Paymont. Trying to get it out, clears it to center, but it's intercepted by Goldsworthy, who's playing very well today. 3 goals already. To Grant at the Vancouver line, his quick shot caught by Wilson. Wilson clears it to the left corner. Rounded the boards to Mackey. He lost it to Harvey in the Vancouver zone. And it's his pass intercepted by Paymont, and Boudria just failed to get away at center. Boudria to Mackey, in on the left wing, checked and upset by Reed. And the puck goes in behind the net to Jude Drouin. On the left now to Mons. Mons at center for Goldsworthy, who missed the pass. Mackey back the other way to Boudria over the Minnesota line. Boudria trying to go in, sandwiched and knocked down. And there's going to be a Minnesota penalty here. I think elbowing will be the call on Reed, as Andre Boudria was sandwiched and dumped to the net. Interference is going to be the call on the Minnesota penalty. So at 16:07 of this second period, the North Stars are shorthanded. They've had 6 of the 9 penalties today, all of the minors. And Mons is going to get this one for interference.
Minnesota penalty to number 6, Doug Mons. 2 minutes for interference. The time 16:07.
3:53 left in the second period on the Players' Cigarette scoreboard. 5-0 for the North Stars. Face off to the right of Maniago. Hampson and Kurtenbach face off. Canucks get the draw. The puck to Talon over at the right point to Cullen. His shot goes wide, goes in behind the net. The puck is held in the mesh, and the play is stopped. Talon and Cullen are playing the points for Vancouver. Ray Cullen getting some ice time today for the first time in a couple of weeks. Kurtenbach, Schmatz, and Johnson up front. Kurtenbach facing off against Hampson in the circle to Maniago's left. Hampson, a great penalty killer. He gets the draw. Back to Harris, who shoots the puck down the ice. Harris and Gibbs, the Minnesota defense. Goldsworthy and Hampson, the penalty-killing forwards. Dunk Wilson comes out of the goal to stick handle a bit. Gives it to Dale Talon. Carrying out on the right. Head to Cullen on the right side at center. Over the Minnesota blue line. Cullen moving in. Across to the left wing, and Harris goes over to get the puck. Clears it, but not out. And finally, it's cleared out to the blue line, where it's picked up by Hampson. Puts it off the boards. Taken in by Schmatz on the right wing. Turns along the boards. Checked by Hampson. Still Schmatz with the puck to Johnson. Schmatz now has it again. Back to the point. Nobody there. And the puck slides all the way to center ice. Cullen takes it in on the left, over the Minnesota blue line, down into the left corner against Gibbs, turns along the boards, back to Johnson, he shoots, and it's deflected wide by Kurtenbach, just missing the corner. Hampson clears the puck out. 1 minute gone in the Minnesota penalty. Johnson passing it off the boards to Talon, turning in his own zone. Ahead to Kurtenbach at center, in on the defense. Over the blue line, along the left boards, he stops. Checked by Goldsworthy, but still has the puck. Kurtenbach coming away from the boards, puts it in behind the net. Schmatz gets it there. Try to get it in front for Kurtenbach. It goes in behind the goal, and Gibbs picks it up. He clears it ahead now to Goldsworthy. Taking his time as he gets to center and shoots it in on the net. Wilson stopping it. The North Stars very solid while killing these penalties today. 27 seconds left in the penalty. To Doug Moans. Kurtenbach's at center with the puck down the middle. Over the blue line as Harris checked him. The puck went over to Taylor. He lost the puck, and Harris knocked it out to center. And Oliver just failed to get away there. Cullen on the right side. Over the Minnesota line, it's offside. Kurtenbach was in too soon. The score, Minnesota 5, Vancouver nothing. This is Canucks hockey from Vancouver.
Great hockey players aren't simply born to it. It takes time and professional training. Like in the making of Players Quality. They take the trouble to make sure players please. Always have, always will.
2 minutes and 4 seconds left in the second period on the Players Cigarette scoreboard. 5-0 for the North Stars with only 8 seconds left in their penalty as they clear the puck down the ice. Scheller goes back to get it. Moans getting ready to come on. He is on the ice now. Minnesota back at full strength. Hall to Corrigan. Cleared in the Minnesota zone. It goes down in the corner to Moans. Plays it off the boards on the left side to Parise. His pass intercepted by Taylor at the Minnesota line, and he hands it right back to Moans. At center ice to Oliver. Over the Vancouver blue line. Now back for Parise. Tipped away by Scheller. To Corrigan. His pass for Hall intercepted. And Minnesota get possession again with Oliver at his own line. On the left to center ice. To Parise. Over the Vancouver blue line. Cutting for the goal. Parise shoots. Wilson stopped it on the short side. Scheller starting up for Vancouver. Ahead to Corrigan at center ice. Shooting it in. Wide of the goal. And it's picked up by Danny Lawson of the North Stars. Plays it around on the boards to Nanny. It's put back into the corner. Taylor just failed to get it there. Lawson picked it up again. Plays it off the boards. Nanny hit by Scheller. But Lawson gets the puck. Ahead to Labossiere. One man back. In on Wilkins. Back to Labossiere in front. And the bouncing puck in front of Wilkins is cleared away by Scheller as the play is stopped here, and I think we're going to have a Canuck penalty to John Scheller for high sticking in front of the net, as Labossiere and Nanny moved in on that rush and just failed to score. Wilkins was the lone man back.
Number 5, John Scheller, 2 minutes for high sticking. The time 19:11.
Scheller high sticking at 19:11. Wilkins was the only man back on that last rush, and he was trying to cope with both Labossiere and Nanny. Scheller came back in high stick. Labossiere in front of the net. Harris on the left to Nanny at the Vancouver line, clears it down into the corner. Quinn goes in after it along the inboards, played it around on the boards for Boudria, couldn't reach it. A shot stopped by Wilson as Gibbs shot from the right point. Nanny in the corner upset by Doak. They both fall to the ice. Now Lawson and Quinn are getting rough in front of the goal. Going to be penalties assessed here to Quinn, I believe. Here's a shot, went off to the target. Maniago heads to the bench for 6 Minnesota attackers. Play in the Vancouver zone. Boudria gets the puck, and here comes a penalty to Pat Quinn. Pat Quinn hit Danny Lawson early in the season with one of the hardest body checks ever seen in this building. And Lawson suffered a broken jaw and was out for many, many weeks.
Number 3, Pat
going,
Quinn,
perhaps.
2 minutes for roughing. The time 19:43.
Quinn for roughing at 19:43 of this second period as he was working over Lawson in front of the net. Now the Canucks are 2 men short, and the penalties will carry into the third period unless Minnesota score. And even if they score once, the Canucks would still be shorthanded. 5-0 for Minnesota on the Players Cigarette scoreboard. 17 seconds left in the second period. Kurtenbach facing off in the Vancouver zone, trying to get the puck out. Harris keeps it in, then it flips over the glass out of play. And when you look for individual standouts today, You have to mention Ted Harris on that Minnesota defense. Big, strong guy, obtained from Montreal, and a very key hockey player for Minnesota. And the way they're playing right now, the North Stars could be tough come playoff time. Although it looks like they'll possibly take on Chicago in the first round if they stay where they are. A long shot by Lawson is stopped by Wilson, deflecting it to the left side, a jam up in the end boards. Nanny gets the puck, just failed to center it as the buzzer sounds. That's the second period of today's game. The score, the Minnesota North Stars 5, the Vancouver Canucks nothing. A summary in a moment.
At Players, today is deeply rooted in yesterday. Traditions of quality have been part of every Player's cigarette since John Player first began blending tobacco. John Player had a way with tobacco. He knew how to buy and blend the finest leaf, and he was constantly thinking ahead. He was one of the first to pre-measure tobacco and sell it in individual packets. John Player's fame grew. Soon people were coming from other towns, especially to buy his tobacco. And all the while, he insisted on the highest standards of quality. Those standards still apply at Players. Now, as then, only the finest tobacco carries the Players name. And you get this fine quality from every member of the Players family. Players, quality in the making.
After 2 periods of play, the Minnesota North Stars lead the Vancouver Canucks 5-0. It was 2-0 at the end of the first period. Goldsworthy, his 31st of the year from Druin and Gibbs on a breakaway at 5:19. Goldsworthy, his 32nd of the year from Mons while killing a penalty at 11:42. In the first period, 3 penalties all to Minnesota. The Canucks outshot the North Stars 12-7. In the second period, Grant, his 31st of the year from Parise and Mons on a power play at 2:07. As the shot from a sharp angle got through a crowd, Doak, Quinn, and Wilson all failing to stop the shot by Danny Grant. Then Goldsworthy, his 33rd of the year from Harris at 7:15, his 3rd of the afternoon, 33rd of the year. Gibbs, his 5th of the season from Harris and Labossiere on a power play at 9:27 to make it 5-0. Penalties in the second period. Popiel of Vancouver slashing at 1:54. Gibbs of Minnesota closing his hand on the puck at 4:06. Taylor of Vancouver tripping at 7:47. Nanny of Minnesota and Quinn of Vancouver each got 2 minutes for roughing at 9:16. Mons of Minnesota interference at 16:07. Schilla of Vancouver high sticking at 19:11. Quinn of Vancouver roughing at 19:43. The Canucks will be 2 men short when they start the third period. Shots on goal in the second period by Minnesota 14, by Vancouver 7. And after 2 periods, the North Stars have outshot the Canucks 21-19. After 2 periods of play, it's Minnesota 5, the Vancouver Canucks no score. There'll be more NHL hockey in 3 minutes.
Want to make more money on your savings? How does 6.5 cents on the dollar sound? That's what Plan 24 pays you at Vancouver City Savings. 6.5% interest a year, 6.5 cents on the dollar. Your interest is calculated every 24 hours on every dollar in your account. Deposit and withdraw anytime. And you can get at your money on Saturdays. Or another good reason to join us.
Vancouver City Savings. 98 CKNW.
This is the news.
Maury Hesketh reporting NW News headlines. Scotland Yard was silent today on a published report that the Yard, the RCMP, and Interpol are investigating an alleged international swindle involving relief supplies. External Affairs Minister Mitchell Sharp says recent no-interest loans to African nations will help generate jobs for Canadians. A Vancouver youth, Henry Leibowitz, 17, 910 West 22nd, has been charged with attempting to extort money from city businessman A.J. Sachs. A fourth person, 20-year-old Ernest Penner of Abbotsford, has died of injuries suffered last night in a head-on crash near Abbotsford. Record low temperatures for this date have been set at 4 BC locations, including Vancouver. An estimated 25,000 persons have gone through the new Air Canada Boeing 747 jumbo jet at Abbotsford Airport today. There have been traffic tie-ups near the airport and a wait of about 3 hours, so it's recommended that no further people head out to Abbotsford Airport this afternoon.
The weather forecast, increasing cloudiness tonight, cloudy with periods of rain or wet snow tomorrow. Tuesday outlook, sunny periods. The low tonight near 32. Outside NW, temperature reading steady at 50. That's the news. More news at 5.
Make a wrong move in hockey and one thing's sure. Someone's going to be out of action for a little while. But make a wrong move when you buy batteries, and you stand to lose hours of playing time. That's why it pays to pick the right batteries for the job. In cassette tape recorders, for example, you'll get hours more action if you insist on ever-ready golden energizers. Sure, any batteries that fit will make your machine work, but you'll get more power per penny when you use the batteries designed specially for the job. Same thing goes for flash cameras. Ever-ready golden energizers will give you hundreds more flashes than regular batteries, even our own. So don't penalize yourself by buying the first batteries that fit. Your ever-ready dealer will be happy to recommend the batteries that will do the job best, even if it means you won't be back so often.
Using your cassette recorder for a weekend party? Ask your ever-ready dealer for golden energizers, the right battery for the job.
Yes, the score 5-0 here at the end of the second period for Minnesota North Stars over the Vancouver Canucks. And down south, it's now 3-2 for California over Los Angeles Kings. Hickey with 2 and Williams, Lonsbury and Grenier. The scores in that game, final 2-0 Chicago over Detroit. If you didn't know it, the Minnesota North Stars are after a playoff berth in that number 3 position in the Western Division. They have 2 points over Philadelphia and are playing it that way today, trying to pick up 2 more, make them 69-65 for Philadelphia. Toronto at Philadelphia, the game this evening, have to watch that one. And of course the Vancouver Canucks are playing it, if you didn't know any better, for that number 1 draft choice. They'd like to see California win, and probably it looks like they'd like to see themselves lose here today, Bill.
I've been sitting, I moved from the top press box down to the low press box because I get fed up climbing up to the rafters. I'm getting too old for that nonsense. And I kept thinking, did King Clancy come all the way out here to see a hockey game? Because King, this got to be one of the gems, doesn't it?
Well, Bill, it's not a good hockey game. Vancouver are not playing anything like the hockey that they're capable of playing. Whatever's happened to them, I don't know. But I want to tell you this. I've noticed here today, the crowd that you have in here today, this is magnificent. And they're right with this team from start to finish. I know that Poyle is doing the best he can to get a hockey club in here. He's trying to move everything to get some hockey players in here. They have the nucleus of a real good hockey team in here, and today they're not showing me that they played anything like up to their potential. I don't know what it is, whether they're playing it just cozy or just playing it for the end of the season or what. I don't know.
Well, it's like you were saying at the last intermission, King. You want to see hockey players who are going out and pushing people around and hitting a few people and that. They're not even doing that well.
That's right. Well, they couldn't, as I said at the other period, Bill, they couldn't play for me unless they took the man. And this is one thing that we're doing up in Toronto now, and it's paying off. We're taking the man up there, and we're doing playing a little bit of hard work, playing hard work. And if you don't work hard doing this game, my motto on the whole thing is have fun and play as hard as you know how, and go for the man. Then you're doing something.
Well, that's what this club, which has got nowhere near the talent, let's say, of a Boston Bruin. The comparison is odious, for heaven's sakes, but yet they go out against a team like Boston. They know that if they're going to stay in the rink, they're going to have to get on them, hang on them, push them, shove them, fight them, and go after the man all the time. They play far better hockey against a team like Toronto or a team like Boston. This isn't any Boston Bruin team, this Minnesota club, and yet they're dancing around. They're not doing anything. They don't seem like they want to play. The goalkeeper is pushing the thing away as if so what. Wilkins a couple of times that I couldn't care less. You could see it out there, couldn't you?
Well, yes, they're not playing anything like I saw them play. And I only saw them play 2 games this year. And the 2 games that I saw them play 1 game in Vancouver and 1 game in Toronto. And they were a much, much better hockey club than they are here today. It's just because they're not working, Bill, and they have to work. As I said, if you don't work, you might as well give up.
Well, the Vancouver Canucks throughout the year have been known for bad second periods. But you look at every goal here this afternoon, 5-0 Minnesota. There's a mistake. Goldsworthy's first. He was about half a stride, and Barry Wilkinson scored. Goldsworthy's second goal, the Canucks had the man advantage, and it was, I thought, a poor goaltending save on Charlie Hodges' part, where he stopped it, and the rebound came up and bounced into the net. Danny Grant was a power play goal. Bill Goldsworthy's third goal, his hat trick, I thought was about 50 feet offside, and then Danny Grant's goal was a power play. So it's a game of mistakes, and they've a good club to take advantage of it.
All right, Al, but I've been watching Goldsworthy. I've been sitting with Jack McGill through that period, and Jack used to play a little bit of hockey in his day, King.
That's right.
And this Goldsworthy hasn't made a shot yet that hasn't hit the net. Every time he shoots, he's on that net.
This is a good hockey player. This Goldsworthy is as good a hockey player as there is in the National Hockey League. He plays his wing very, very well. He's never goes off it. He coming back, and he got in here on the goal that you're talking about, that he came down, Al, down the wing. He was wide open. There was nobody there. He let a shot go, and as Bill said, not one shot does he waste. Every shot is on the net. If they don't go in, they hit the goalkeeper or hit the post or something. They're always on the net. And after all, you know, if you put them on the net, sometimes they're going to go in, and they go in an awful lot.
The Vancouver Canucks and their fans are most interested now. The season is over for them. 2 weeks from today is their final game here. And then it's on to June in the draft. And we usually ask people, King, about draft choices. It appears that it'll be maybe Lafleur in Quebec and Gouvernement, a defenseman in Montreal Junior Canadiens, Dion from the OHA. If you were going to make a selection right now with the players you've seen, who would be number one?
Well, I haven't seen this boy in Quebec, but number one, if I would have to take number one, I'd have to take Marcel Dion from St. Catharines. This is a real good hockey player. He's got lots of speed. He was out 3 or 4 weeks this year, and I think he's tied for the top of the junior OHA scoring, and I think that he'll win it. The boy in Quebec, they say, has everything. I've never seen this kid play, but Dion is a real good, and don't forget there's another kid on the Montreal Canadiens, Martin. He's a real good one too. Gouvernement is good, but there are a lot of good kids around, and you know, I don't know, the way I look at it, the league that the boy from Quebec is in doesn't seem to be as strong as the junior OHA. Consequently, I would have to go with one of the boys in the junior OHA. I saw the Western kids play in an exhibition game in Winnipeg. I didn't think there was anything on the Western teams that were as good as Gouvernement, as you say, or Martin, or Dion from, and there's a couple of kids on the Marlboros and Marlboros, to me, are the dark horse in the junior OHA this year.
They say that Dion is only, he plays everything, passes both ways, shoots, skates, but he may be a little small.
Gee whiz, I've seen a lot of small fellas. The smallest fella on this hockey club here in Vancouver is one of their better hockey players. That's Boudreau.
Right.
If you can get another Boudreau, you're not going to complain too much.
No, he's a worker. He's working. He's about one of the ones today that I would have to say is doing his level best. He's working like a demon, and it must be terrible frustrating for Lako standing down there on the bench trying to get these fellas to move, because this fella's a good hockey man, a good hockey coach, and I think that they should put out a little bit more for this man.
Thank you, King Clancy of Toronto Maple Leafs, and Bill Good, freelance broadcaster. The scores again: 2-0 Chicago final over Detroit, 3-2 in the second period for California over Los Angeles, and 5-0 here at Pacific Coliseum for Vancouver Canucks. So 5-0 for the Minnesota North Stars over the Vancouver Canucks. Stand by for the third period faceoff.
Monday, 8:15 p.m., Canadian border. Stopped American car. Occupants of Mr. and Mrs. Weaver of Atlanta, Georgia, returning home from vacation in Canada. Checked their luggage. Discovered 7 bottles of mysterious liquid called Resdan. 8:20 p.m., Weaver explained.
There's nothing quite like it in the States, so we always bring some back from Canada. It controls dandruff.
His story checked out. Couldn't find a trace of dandruff on him. But I was still suspicious, so the Weavers gave me the treatment. Friday, 4 days later, my dandruff still under control. Weaver was right. There is nothing quite like Resdan in the States. Saturday, 7:20 a.m., I headed north to Canada to do a little hunting for Resdan.
We now go to the third period with the Minnesota North Stars leading the Vancouver Canucks 5-0. And as the teams skate out on the ice, The Canucks will be 2 men short starting this third period. In Oakland, after 2 periods, the California Seals are leading the Los Angeles Kings 3-2. And in Chicago today, the Blackhawks defeated Detroit 2-0. The Canucks have not been shut out this season, nor have they recorded a shutout of their own. But the way Cesar Maniago is playing and the way things have been going for the Canucks today, it's going to be awfully tough to get a goal. And they'll start this period with 2 men in the penalty box. Looking over at the Vancouver bench, we see Garth Rizzuto stepping in there. He hasn't been on the ice today. Wayne Mackey's been used sparingly. Ray Cullen has had a couple of shifts, but not much more than the power play. Charlie Burns is not dressed for Minnesota today. They have an extra forward, and he's sitting out. Terry Caffrey hasn't been on the ice. Wayne Malloy's been used sparingly. And defenseman Dennis O'Brien has not been on the ice today. He's on the bench. Gilbert, the backup goaltender. Maniago in the nets. Dunk Wilson in goal for Vancouver. Charlie Hodge played the first period. Wilson came on at the start of the second. It was 2-0 at the end of the first. Now it's 5-0, and on the face-off to start the final period, Minnesota get possession. Moans deep in his own zone to Reed. Back in the left corner to Moans, starting up the ice. Boudria, Doak, and Wilkins, the penalty killers for Vancouver, are 2 men short here. Now Grant takes the puck in over the Vancouver blue line along the left boards, down into the corner, centers it for Drouin. He passes it in front, and it was tipped wide by Goldsworthy. Boudria gets the puck along the right boards, stick handles to center ice on the right board, still has the puck, in on the defense, trying to work towards the goal, puts the puck into the corner, goes in after it, covers it up on the end boards, but it's stolen away by Moans. Then Boudria ties him up and gets the stoppage of play with some great penalty killing. Well, there's one of the few opportunities the Vancouver fans have had to cheer today. And Andre Boudria, with some great forechecking and penalty killing, gets a face-off in Minnesota territory. 28 seconds left in Schella's penalty, a minute left in Quinn's. Play in the Minnesota zone. Boudria trying to get to the puck is held off it by Reed. The crowd yelling, but Boudria is the last man to touch the puck. Moans rushes out. On the right to Goldsworthy at center. At the Vancouver blue line, Goldsworthy passes to the left boards. Boudria picked it up. Boudria out at center. In on Moans. Over the line. A backhander. Maniago stopped it. And almost lost it at the side of the net to Boudria. Boudria heads to the bench, and he'll get lots of applause. A great shift for him. Canucks are 1 man short now. Reed goes over the Vancouver line. Reed cutting for the goal. A backhander. Wilson stopped at the rebound. They score! Goldsworthy on the rebound. His 4th goal of the afternoon. Goldsworthy throws his arms in the air and skating around a happy guy. His 4th goal of the game. On a rebound after Wilson had stopped the initial shot. Reed moving in on the right, taking the shot, and the rebound went right out in front, and Wilson was helpless as Goldsworthy shot it high into the net. What a day he's having. It's 6-0 for Minnesota. That goal came with Vancouver 1 man short. 3 Minnesota goals have been on the power play. Goldsworthy scoring his 4th of the day, his 34th of the year. And it's now 6-0 for the North Stars. That is the first time a Minnesota hockey player has scored 4 goals in 1 game. Dale Talon over the Minnesota line. A shot stopped by Maniago. And he holds the puck and then throws it off to the side. Reed got the only assist on the goal. Taylor on the end boards trying to center the puck. Now goes into the corner, battling along the boards with Harvey. They're still fighting in the corner for the puck. A big jam up in the corner, and the play is stopped. Goldsworthy from Reed, the scoring play. Reed carried in almost the full length of the ice, and the right side got in close. His shot was stopped by Wilson. Goldsworthy scored on the rebound. Dale Talon with a long slap shot that's wide. Parise coming out on the left for the North Stars. At center, at the Vancouver line. Checked off his stick by Schella. Harris at center for Minnesota. Over on the right to Gibbs. Back to Harris. At center to Hampson turning. Over on the left boards to Parise. Puts it in the Vancouver zone. It tipped off. Talon stick to Ted Taylor. To Corrigan. Corrigan at center ice. Got no further as Hampson checked him. Taylor checked Hampson, but Hampson got the puck, lost it to Talon. Over the line, he shoots, and Maniago stopped it and shovels it to the left for Gibbs. Gibbs, a long pass deflects out to Talon at center ice. On the right wing to Hall. Hall across to Taylor. Taylor moving in close is checked by Gibbs. Hall gets the puck to Corrigan. Put it back into the corner. Gibbs and Taylor fight for it there, and it's picked up by Ted Hampson. To Parise on the left wing at center ice. Over to Harvey on the right, over the Vancouver line. Back to Parise. Parise turning inside the blue line, holding the puck. Throws it across to Harris. He shoots. It hit Corrigan and bounces over to Shella in the corner. He back passes to Dale Talon. Talon coming out on the left. Flips it ahead to Taylor on the left wing. Taylor's at center ice. Back for Talon, trying to get in the clear. Bothered by Hampson. They go to the inboards, and Hampson's going to get a penalty here. As Harvey gets the puck, here comes the Minnesota penalty. The score, Minnesota 6, Vancouver nothing. This is NHL hockey from Vancouver.
Swing to where the action is. McLennan Motors are offering some really exceptional buys on like-new demos, leftover 70s, and top-quality late-model used cars. Visit McLennan Motors at their new home on 301 Stewardson Way in New Westminster, where the action is.
Well, selecting the stars today may not be too difficult. At least the first star is likely to be Bill Goldsworthy with 4 goals, although Maniago has a shutout going at this stage, and he would be in consideration too. Goldsworthy, the first Minnesota player ever to get 4 goals in a game. Kurtenbach moving in close to the net. He shoots. He scores! Kurtenbach. Well, there goes the shutout for Maniago. Well, now you know why we've been talking about that Maniago shutout so much. Trying to coax a goal out of the Vancouver Canucks, and Orland Kurtenbach scored it. And for a moment, the red light didn't go on. It looked like we may have a beef. The puck went just under the crossbar. But Kurtenbach on a power play. His 18th goal of the year. Now Kurtenbach at center. Lost the puck at the Minnesota line. It's 6-1 now for Minnesota. 3:08 was the time of the goal, just 4 seconds after Hampson's penalty. Kurtenbach at center, on the left, over the Minnesota line, moving into Schmatz. It's checked away at the last minute by Oliver, checking Schmatz as he came back. Nanny on the right boards. Shovels it ahead to Labassiere at center ice. In on the defense, checked from behind by Kurtenbach. The puck went loose into the corner. Schmatz picked it up. Behind the net, intercepted. It comes out in front of Wilson. A shot by Oliver just missed the open side. Johnson to Kurtenbach at center ice. On the left to Johnson, over the Minnesota blue line. Threw it in front, it went on to the goaltender, and Maniago trapped it and held it. Kurtenbach from Popiel and Boudria off a face-off, as Boudria got the draw to start the play at 3:08 of this third period. Orland Kurtenbach's 18th goal of the year, and it's now 6-1, and the Canucks extend their streak of games in which they have not been shut out to 70. Their 70th game of the year today, and they have yet to be shut out this season, which is some kind of an accomplishment in their first year in the NHL. Gibbs circles around behind his own goal. Passes to Harris, and went off his stick. He goes back to pick it up. Boudria watching him, but he got the pass away to Grant. Plays it back to Gibbs. Over to Ted Harris. Starting out on the left, Boudria checked it away from him. Slides loose to the Vancouver line where Talon picked it up. Turning inside his own blue line. His pass hit Boudria's skate. Picked up by Druid inside the Vancouver blue line. Over on the left wing to Grant. Winding up, he shoots, and it deflects just wide, and Wilson may have got a piece of it. It's kept in by Druid along the boards, then Mackey poked it away from him. Mackey cleared it out to center, picked it up again off Druin's skate. Mackey to Boudria on the left, over the Minnesota line, back to Mackey, moving in, failed to get a shot. Druin checked at his own line, but it's offside as Paymont put it in with Mackey trapped in there. He was very slow coming out. 4:51 gone in the third period. Minnesota leading 6-1. It was 2-0 at the end of the first period, 5-0 at the end of the second. Canucks' next game, another home game Tuesday night against the St. Louis Blues, their last appearance of the season here Tuesday. The puck is shot in the Vancouver zone. Mackey goes back for it, watched by Goldsworthy, who's already scored 4. He almost stole the puck behind the net, but was dumped. Paymont plays it out. It's intercepted by Druin. Back passes to Grant. He tried to get the puck in front of the net, but it went off off Shella, rather. Now Talon has it across to Mackey, starting up the ice at center ice. Has to wait for Paymont to get onside, as he wouldn't give Paymont that puck when he was breaking at the blue line. Shella now shoots it in the Minnesota zone. It's played around on the boards to Goldsworthy. He just golfs it down the ice. Shella going back to touch it in the corner, and Minnesota is called for icing the puck. The score, Minnesota 6, Vancouver 1. More hockey action in a moment.
Charles Templeton, sleep come hard after the game? Tension ride heavy other nights? Try a cup of hot Ovaltine. A hot drink relaxes you, helps you get to sleep. Great stuff, Ovaltine, and it's good for you.
Face off to the right of Maniago in Minnesota territory. Corrigan against Hampson. John D'Amico, the linesman, drops the puck. It's controlled by Harvey of the North Stars along the boards. He lost the puck. Corrigan plays it back, but it's intercepted by Hampson. Coming out quickly on the right. He's at the Vancouver blue line. In on Wilkins. Hampson still has the puck. Veers to the left. He shoots. And Wilson caught the high shot. And a good save on that one. Taylor rolls it ahead, but not out. It's knocked down at the blue line by Reed. His pass intercepted by Wilkins. Behind the net for Doak. Having trouble with Parise, but he got the pass ahead to Hall. To Corrigan. Coming out on the right. At center, shoots it in. Taylor going into the corner after it. Harvey trying to stay with him. They jam into the corner. Taylor kicked it free, but Harvey got it again. And Buster Harvey working very hard. Then is held on the boards by Murray Hall, and they stop the play. Harvey, a first-year pro.
California leads Los Angeles 3-2.
Announcing the score from Oakland, where California is leading Los Angeles. And Minnesota's happy to hear that. They're a little worried about the Los Angeles Kings coming on. They still have a playoff chance, but it's a long-range one, long-shot chance. Minnesota get possession off a face-off in their own zone. Puck went loose in the corner. Hall in front for Taylor. To Corrigan, a backhander went wide as he was checked. It's in front. Taylor shoots and scores! Ted Taylor. On the second try in front, Taylor flipped it in with Corrigan and Hall setting him up. And a lot of persistent work by the line pays off. And now it's 6-2 for Minnesota. 6:28 of this third period, the time of the second Vancouver goal. Scored by hard-working winger Ted Taylor. Got off to a terrible start this year, now has 8 goals on the season. Hall and Corrigan will likely get assists. On the face-off, Minnesota get possession at their own line. Gibbs across to Harris. Harris on the left at center. Shoots it at the Vancouver line where Shella knocked it down. Now Talon. Head for Kurtenbach, but it's intercepted by Nanny. Hall and Corrigan did assist on Taylor's goal at 6:28. The puck is cleared into Canuck territory wide of Dunk Wilson. Plays it off in behind the net. It's stolen there by Labossiere. A shot whistles wide as Oliver moved in from the left. Gibbs at the right point, keeping it onside. Behind the net for Oliver, he misses it. Dale Talon has the puck. Ahead now to Bob Schmatz on the right wing. At center to Kurtenbach. On the left for Johnson. Over the Minnesota line with Schmatz cruising in. In front. Maniago tipped it away. And Schmatz was really streaking for the goal on that rush. Now Oliver at center on the left at the Vancouver blue line. In on Shella, who took him out. And the puck slides to the corner where Kurtenbach picked it up. Back passing for Shella. Along the right boards having difficulty. Plays it back to Kurtenbach. Into the left corner to Dale Talon, who's playing the left side with Shella on the right. Pat Quinn is being used sparingly. Here's a breakaway for Schmatz. Ready on goal, he shoots. Oh, and Maniago made the save on a breakaway by Bob Schmatz from the blue line in. And the puck is cleared to center ice. Canucks is starting to get some scoring chances. Schmatz was in the clear. Maniago just got a piece of his high shot. Schmatz again over the Minnesota line, taken out by Grant. Harris gets the puck. Clears it around for Nanny on the right wing. Having trouble getting out, Johnson gets the puck in the corner. Centered it, intercepted by Harris. On the left for Grant. 8 minutes gone, third period. Grant to Drew, and at the Vancouver line, a slap shot went off Talon's stick. Wilson steered it to the corner. Talon tied up along the boards, and the play is stopped in Canuck territory. The score, Minnesota 6, Vancouver 2, from the Coliseum in Vancouver.
Don't let routine paperwork tie you up. Free yourself with IBM executory dictation equipment. The IBM desktop unit puts instant control of paperwork at your fingertips. It's fast, efficient, economical. Call IBM.
Face off in Vancouver territory. Mackey plays it in behind the net to Doak. Off the right boards to Paymont. Paymont ahead to Boudria on the right at center ice. Shoots the puck in, offside. Mackey was in too soon. Boudria had to break stride to get control of the puck at center, and that one stride was enough to foul up the play. Canucks play St. Louis here on Tuesday. Minnesota has some important games next week. Play Los Angeles and Philadelphia next Tuesday and Thursday. Two of their biggest games of the year. They battle for a playoff spot. They're in good shape to make those Stanley Cup playoffs. Drouin puts the puck in the Vancouver zone. Paymont is back to pick it up. Turning on the end boards in the right corner. Off the boards for Boudreau, but it's too high to handle. And Mons takes over at center ice, hands it to Paymont on the right wing over the Minnesota line, cruising in. Is checked as he tried to pass, and the puck is cleared to center ice. Doak to Wilkins on the left at center. In for Boudreau, tipped off his stick to Reed. His back pass bounces loose. Boudreau gets a stick on the puck, but his shot was blocked. Goldsworthy to center ice at the Vancouver line. He shoots and went off Wilson's arm high. And out of play, and that Goldsworthy is really having a day. Doug Wilson says something to Barry Wilkins about checking that Goldsworthy. Get out and get him. Goldsworthy's already got 4 today. A Minnesota club record for goals in a single game. The Canuck mark is also 4, held by Rosaire Paymont earlier this season. Paymont has 19 goals in the last 18 games. And he and Goldsworthy are the hottest goal scorers in the league right now. Shot by Harris, wide of the Vancouver net. Comes off the boards. Taylor failed to get out. It's loose in front and deflects onto the goal off Shella, and Dunk Wilson grabbed it. Had to be alert on that one. As it went off the Canuck defenseman in front of the net, and Dunk Wilson alertly stopped it. 9 minutes, 10 seconds gone in the third period. It's 6-2 for Minnesota. On the face-off in Canuck territory, a scramble for the puck in the circle. It's cleared to the corner to Wilson's right. Shella goes in to pick it up. In behind his own goal. Shella, long left wing pass, tips over to Taylor. His back pass for Corrigan is out of his reach, but Hall picked up the puck to Corrigan over the Minnesota line. Corrigan moving in on the right with Hall, but it's broken up by Harvey, who really comes back and checks. The rookie forward, a real hard worker for the North Stars. Now Talon in his own zone with the puck. On the left for Taylor. Taylor's at center, he shoots it in. Goes in behind the Minnesota goal, where Maniago leaves it for Harris. Harris into the left corner to Hempson. Ted Hempson starting out quickly, gets to his own line, now carries to center ice, in on the defense, still has the puck going towards the goal, and he shot wide. And Dunk Wilson then golfs the puck out of play, just batting it in among the spectators. The score, Minnesota 6, Vancouver 2. Canucks hockey continues in a moment.
Hockey is a rough game, so when hockey players use a rub to relieve aches and pains, you know it has to be good. As Vancouver Canuck trainer Ed Shamlock says, wherever we go, so does Rub A535. Anti-phlogistin Rub A535, an action rub for active people.
Face off in Canuck territory. Barry Wilkins across to Doak, ahead to Kurtenbach at his own line. Now he's at center ice, shooting the puck in. Schmatt's racing in after it. Oliver gets to it first. Maniago comes out to tip it to the corner. Oliver now has it deep in his own zone. Clears it outside the blue line. Doak waiting for his mates to get onside. Back to Wilkins, across to Doak on the right. Doak skates to center and dumps it in. On the net, Maniago makes the save, and a big rebound is taken by Reed in behind his own goal. 9.5 minutes left in the game. Labassiere ahead for the winger Nanny at center ice, but he was checked and the puck went loose to Doak in Canuck territory. Doak to Wilkins, who almost lost it in front of his own goal, but it's recovered. Doak to Kurtenbach, turning on the right in his own zone. Watched by Labassiere, who falls trying to stop him, but the puck went loose to the left boards. Kurtenbach gets it again and dumped it in. Maniago comes out to leave it at the side of the net for Murray Oliver. Pace starting to slow down in this game a little bit. Loose puck came off the boards to Kurtenbach. He shoots, and Maniago made a good save. Johnson gets it in the corner. Plays it back for Kurtenbach. He sets, he shoots. Maniago stopped it. Loose puck. Johnson scores! Danny Johnson on the rebound. And Bob Smuts was lying in the crease with 2 Minnesota players, a goaltender and a defenseman, who had belted Smuts to the ice. And the puck came out of that scramble, and Johnson, cutting in front, backhanded it into the net. A lot of hard work led to that goal at 11:08. Now it's 6-3 as the Canucks make it respectable here in the third period. Kurtenbach and Schmatz will probably get assists. Johnson getting the goal.
Scored by number 8.
Canucks on possession in their own zone. On the left to Talon. Talon's at center. Shoots it in. It's cleared back out and down the ice, sliding wide of the Vancouver goal. Schella goes in behind the net to get it. Minnesota's called for icing. It was Johnson from Kurtenbach and Schmatz. And those young wingers, Johnson and Schmatz, are starting to benefit from playing with a big key guy like Orland Kurtenbach. For Danny Johnson, his 12th goal of the season. 8 minutes and 34 seconds left in the game. A reminder, hear the White Spot Overtime show right after the game with Al Davidson from the Canuck dressing room. Face off in Minnesota territory. Gibbs behind the net. Played it in the corner. Boudria goes in after it. Failed to center it. Gibbs gets it again. Goes in behind the net again. Passes out on the right wing. It's going on down the ice. A race for the puck. Goldsworthy and Talon. They'll have to put it on. It's left sitting there, and Schella picked it up, and Vancouver gets the icing call. Goldsworthy was out racing Talon for the puck, but they overskated it, and Schella touched it to get the icing call. .8:17 left in the game. 6-3 for Minnesota, and the Canucks were down 6-0 early in this period. North Stars get possession. Grant on the left wing at center. A long slap shot. Wilson stopped it, turned it to the left corner. Talon goes in to pick it up. Plays it across to Paymont. Paymont to his own line. Now he's at center ice to Boudria. Over the Minnesota line. Boudria moving in. Back to Mackey. Right in on goal. A loose puck after Maniago made the save. And the puck is grabbed by Gibbs and held as he fell to the ice. And there's that Mackey in on goal, but he just won't shoot the puck when he gets in there. He likes to make that extra move. And Maniago was able to check the puck off his stick as Mackey was trying to deke his way past the goaltender. The score, Minnesota 6, Vancouver 3, playing in Vancouver.
Mercury's new little car is on display right now at all Mercury dealers. Mercury Comet, the little car with better ideas. Get it in a sporty 2-door model or a family-sized 4-door. Mercury Comet at your Mercury dealers now.
Face off in Minnesota territory. Doak along the right boards, keeping it in, puts it around behind the net. Maniago sweeps it around on the boards. It's cleared but not out. Wilkins keeping it in. Hall goes to the end boards to get the puck. Checked along the boards in the corner, pushed in there by Reed. Taylor goes in to try and dig out the puck. It's still in play, and it's cleared by Hampson to center ice. Doak comes across to get to the puck ahead of Harvey. Now Taylor has it at center ice, and the pace of the game picks up. Taylor back at center, being checked, plays it back to Doak. Across to Wilkins, outside his own line. Now to Corrigan, back to Doak, starting up on the right. Across to Wilkins on the left. He's now at center ice. Shoots it in at the line. It hit Taylor. It's held along the boards at the Minnesota blue line. Hampson has the puck underneath him, and the play is stopped. 7 minutes and 15 seconds left. It's 6-3 for Minnesota. And Wayne Mackey had a magnificent opportunity on a brilliant play by Boudria, who faked a pass to Paymont and back pass to Mackey, who streaked in the clear, but he tried to deke his way past Maniago, who poked the puck off his stick at the last minute as Mackey just failed to shoot in close. Doak takes out Grant at the Vancouver line, or Parise at the Vancouver line, and the Canucks get possession. Wilkins across to Hall, starting out on the right. Hall's at center, a long slap shot, drifts wide. Taylor off the boards, getting the puck, checked by Harvey. The puck is overskated by Reed, played back to Wilkins at the left point. Over to Doak at the right point. Here's his shot. It went wide on the rebound. Hall at the side of the net, trying to center it, but Moans checked him off the puck. Out to Parise. Across at center to Hampson. 3-on-2 for Minnesota. Back to Parise. Over the Vancouver line to Hampson. A shot is blocked by Wilkins. 6.5 minutes to go. Wilkins coming out. He's at center ice. Shoots the puck in. It goes over to Schmatz. Trying to get a shot. He lost it to Moans. Back to Harvey. Coasting at center with the puck. Back passes neatly to Parise. Over the Vancouver line. He shoots. Wilson stopped it on the rebound. A loose puck is cleared off to the side as Wilson came out and Parise crashed into him. Now Schella coming out for Vancouver. Carries to center ice. Shoots the puck in. It dribbles onto the goaltender and is swept to the side by Maniago. 6 minutes to go as the teams change on the move. Johnson at the Minnesota line trying to get the puck in there, but Nanny picked it up along the boards. Johnson gets it back and shoots it in. Gibbs in behind the goal to get the puck. Gibbs starting out slowly. Pass is intercepted by Johnson at the line to Kurtenbach. Had to bring it out, and a delayed offside is called on the Canucks at the Minnesota line. Five minutes and 41 seconds left in the game. Minnesota leads 6-3. 4 goals by Goldsworthy, 1 each by Grant and Gibbs. And the Canuck goals by Kurtenbach, Taylor, and Johnson, all in this third period. Kurtenbach takes the puck over the Minnesota line. On the right wing for Schmatz, has to go to the right corner for the puck. Along the inboards is taken out by Oliver, and the puck is cleared around to the boards by Ted Harris. Not out as Johnson keeps it in to Kurtenbach. Kurtenbach shoots, it went wide, off a skate. It's behind the Minnesota goal. Cleared off the boards by Labossiere. Labossiere starting out on the right, ran into Talon who hit him high, but Nanny gets the puck. Nanny's at center on the right, over the Vancouver line. Talon gets a piece of him. They go into the corner, the puck is centered, and now the play is stopped, and Talon is going to get a penalty here, I believe, after he had hit Nanny earlier, and now is going to get a holding penalty, and the Canucks will be shorthanded. The score, Minnesota 6, Vancouver 3. More NHL hockey in a moment.
This is Bobby Orr. Want to add some action to your shower power? Try Yardley Black Label Soap on a Rope. It's easy to hang on to and gets up a real lather, too.
Take a tip from Bobby Orr. Ask for Yardley Black Label Soap on a Rope at your local men's toiletry counter.
The penalty is to Dale Talon for holding at 14:51 of the third period. The Canucks have had 12 minutes in penalty time, 6 minors. Minnesota have had 14 minutes with 7 minors. Face off to the left of Wilson in Canuck territory. 5 minutes and 9 seconds to go. 6-3 for the North Stars. They have the man advantage. Lawson moving in, a shot on the short side. Whistles high and wide. Grant along the board, checked by Doak. Doak to Boudria. Boudria clears it out and down the ice. Goldsworthy back after it. Goldsworthy, who has scored 4 big goals today. In behind the net, now starting out slowly. Passes on the right side for Lawson. At center ice with Druin. They go over the Vancouver line. Lawson winds up, he shoots it high. Went off the glass to the right boards. Bounces back to Moans. He flipped it. It hit Boudria, who trapped it against his chest when checked by Grant, and the play is stopped. 4 minutes and 37 seconds left in the game. It's 6-3 for Minnesota, who led 6-0 at one stage. And the Canucks have come back in the third period to make it respectable here. Face off in Canuck territory. Loose puck in front of Wilson. Wilkins gets it and clears it off the boards to center and down into Minnesota territory. Cesar Maniago comes well out of the net, then leaves it for Reed. Boudria goes in after him, but Reed controls the puck. On the left side, Paymont had a piece of it for a moment, but it's picked up by Grant to Reed. On the right to Goldsworthy. Spun away from Wilkins. Gets it to Druin over the Vancouver line. Back for Goldsworthy. Paymont has it along the board. Just failed to get it out. And then Wilkins slaps it down the ice. 4 minutes to go in the game. 52 seconds left in the Vancouver penalty to Dale Talon. Minnesota starting out. Grant on the left wing at center. To the Vancouver line. A slap shot went off. Doak dribbled onto the goaltender. And Wilson clears it to the side. Wilkins gets it out. Paymont races after it. Just failed to pick it up at center ice. Now Kurtenbach has it at center. Goes to the Minnesota line. Over the blue line. Still Kurtenbach cutting for the goal. And he tried to center it, but was checked by Goldsworthy. Crowd yelling because they thought Goldsworthy was holding Kurtenbach. Druin goes in behind the goal. Starting out on the left. Druin carries to center. In on the defense. Cutting in on goal. Trying to go through, and the puck was checked away. Johnson for Kurtenbach, who didn't see it. Kurtenbach at center just failed to steal the puck. 10 seconds left in Talon's penalty as Goldsworthy turns at his own line for the North Stars. On the left to Parise. On the right wing for Druin over the Vancouver blue line, just inside the line. Dribbled it across for Harvey, who shoots it high. Goes in behind the Vancouver goal. Parise going in there with Wilkins. The puck goes into the corner to Harvey. Harvey taken out by Corrigan. The puck is still in play on the end boards. Harvey trying to center it. Now battling with Corrigan on the end boards, and they hold the puck to stop the play. 2:56 left. The score, Minnesota 6, Vancouver 3. This is Canucks hockey from Vancouver.
Celebrate British Columbia's centennial with Bank of Commerce BC Centennial checks. 5 full-color scenes taken from the length and breadth of this growing province. Join the birthday party and find out how more of us do more for you at the Commerce.
Face off in Vancouver territory will be to the left of Dunk Wilson, but there's a delay while they patch a hole in the ice in behind the Vancouver goal. 2 minutes and 56 seconds left, and a lot of the fans are starting for the exits on a beautiful Sunday afternoon in Vancouver. Corrigan, Taylor, Hall, Talon, and Shell out there for the Canucks. On the face-off, a shot by Harvey. Misses the Vancouver goal. Parise along the left boards. Played the puck in the corner to Hampson. Hampson trying to get away from Corrigan. Hampson and Corrigan battling, and Parise goes in to get the puck in the corner. Back to the left point to Harris. Harris takes a shot. It misses the goal along the ice. Talon goes to the left boards and whacks it out to center ice. Corrigan after it, but Ted Harris gets back to pick it up in his own zone. Checked along the boards, lost it to Taylor. Taylor shoots. It's blocked. Taylor gets it again in front, and Hall tipped it across in front of the goaltender. It's cleared out to center to Harvey. Harvey and Parise over the Vancouver line. It's offside as Jean-Paul Parise was in too soon. Parise was one of the leading scorers in the National Hockey League last season. Well, this year has only scored 11 goals. But as you possibly heard Coach Jack Gordon say prior to the game, he's still one of the key guys for this Minnesota team. Real hard-working left winger. Puck is cleared in the Vancouver zone and behind the net. Wilson stops it, leaves it for Talon. Talon passes to Corrigan, turning in his own zone. Flips it across to Talon at center ice. In on the defense, gives it to Taylor. It's called offside at the Minnesota blue line. 2:06 left to play. Here Al Davidson from the Canuck dressing room on the White Spot Overtime show after the game. Canucks next game Tuesday night here at the Pacific Coliseum against the St. Louis Blues. They made quite a few changes since they were here last. Puck is cleared back in the Vancouver zone. John Schella goes back for it with 2 minutes left. 6-3 for the North Stars. Schella from behind the goal. On the left to Talon. Ahead to Corrigan. Tipped off his stick to center ice. Cleared back to the Vancouver line where Talon intercepts. Talon takes it in over the blue line, is checked and lost the puck to Reed. Back the other way on the left. He's at center ice. In on Schella. Reed along the left boards into the corner. Threw the puck in front and hit Hall in behind his own goal. He passes in the right corner to Taylor. Taylor ahead for Corrigan, too far ahead. Nanny has the puck, lost it to Corrigan. Trying to finesse his way by Nanny, who broke it up. Nanny on the left wing to Oliver. A long shot, misses the Vancouver goal, goes in behind the net. It's left in there, and Doak plays it around on the left boards to Taylor. Taylor out for Boudria at center ice. In on the defense with Hall trailing. Boudria going for the goal, tried to center it. It hit a defenseman and went off to the side as Gibbs broke it up, and the puck is cleared down the ice by Lou Nanny. 1 minute left in the game. Wilkins starting out of his own zone for the Canucks. At center ice on the left wing to Mackey. Misses a check along the left boards, then fell. Threw the puck in front. It was cleared away by Maniago. Grant gets it to center ice where Doak has it. To Mackey on the left wing. Takes it over the Minnesota line on the right now as he swung left to right and he failed to get through the defense. Boudria gets the puck away. Now to Paymont. He shoots. It's blocked. It went off Gibbs' skates. To Harris. To Labossiere at center ice with a half a minute left. Labossiere over the line to Grant, offside at the Canuck blue line. 28 seconds to play. Minnesota 6, Vancouver 3. After the game Tuesday against St. Louis, the Canucks go on the road for the first time in quite some time. They'll play in Detroit Thursday and Buffalo Friday. And it's back home for a Sunday game against California, then back on the road again. As the season is drawing to a close, 2 weeks left. Doak turning in his own zone. Across to Wilkins. 18 seconds to go. His pass for Boudria. Intercepted as Druin shoots it wide of the net. Wilkins gets it behind to Dunk Wilson. Barry Wilkins with 10 seconds to go. Back to Gary Doak. Coming out on the right, back to Wilkins with 5 seconds to go. He slaps it from his own line. It's blocked by Gibbs. Scoops it to center, and the game is over. The final score, the Minnesota North Stars 6, the Vancouver Canucks 3. A summary in a moment.
A lot of airlines can fly you to London. But why be satisfied with just one great city? CP Air will give you Amsterdam and London for just $26 more than a ticket to London alone. And what better place to start your holiday than Amsterdam? It's just a short hop from a dozen exciting European capitals. And when you've seen the best of Europe, CP Air will arrange to have you flown to swinging London at no extra cost. The King's Road, the changing of the guard, the far-out discotheques, they're all waiting for you. So ask your travel agent about CP Air's 29 to 45-day excursion fares. He'll get you Amsterdam and London for only $26 more than the fare to London alone. That's another reason why travel with CP Air is a global affair.
From Vancouver, CP Air will get you to Amsterdam and London for only $435 with their 29 to 45-day excursion fare, effective April 1st to May 31st. Call your CP Air travel agent.
The Minnesota North Stars moved closer to clinching a playoff spot in the National Hockey League this afternoon, defeating the Vancouver Canucks 6-3, paced by the 4-goal performance of Bill Goldsworthy and the steady goaltending of Cesar Maniago, particularly in the early stages of the game, and very solid defensive play from the likes of Ted Harris, Barry Gibbs, and the other defensive players, Moans and Reed, also played well. And it was only in the third period that the Canucks started to put things together to get back in the hockey game and make it a respectable score. But Minnesota was certainly the better hockey club today. They led 2-0 at the end of the first period on the first 2 goals by Goldsworthy, one by killing a penalty. They made it 5-0 with 3 more in the second period on goals by Grant, Goldsworthy, and Gibbs. Grant and Gibbs scored on power plays. Goldsworthy again on a power play, his 4th of the day, his 34th of the year, and the 104th of his NHL career. Made it 6-0 before the Canucks came back in that third period on goals by Kurtenbach, Taylor, and Johnson to make it a respectable showing before a sellout crowd of 15,570. Final score again, the Minnesota North Stars 6, the Vancouver Canucks 3. This is Jim Robson in Vancouver. Stand by for our post-game program, Overtime.
Spring is a special time of year, and nowhere is it more special than at your local hardware store. Special because now is the time to meet the performers from Skill and get real spring savings. Skill orbital sanders, driver drills, and jigsaw kits are priced way down now, so you can get a head start on all those spring and summer projects. Planning a painting job, for instance? Sanding problems disappear at the press of a button with a new Skill 490 Orbit Line Sander, a double insulated model that removes old paint, dirt, and rust quickly and smoothly. Or get in on those special savings we mentioned by choosing Skill's model 409 Orbital Sander Kit. It has everything you need in one kit. The sander, 6 sheets of sandpaper, wood filler, a putty knife, and a handy carrying case, all at considerably below the regular price. Why not take a cue from Henri Richard and Dave Keon? Meet the performers from Skill and find out all about the special spring savings on now at your local hardware and building supply dealer. Remember, you can't beat Skill for quality and performance.
This has been Canucks NHL Hockey. Tuesday night, the St. Louis Blues are next on the Canucks NHL schedule. Pick up the complete hockey action with the Coaches Show at 20 to 8, followed by pregame face-off and the game play-by-play at 8 o'clock. You're listening to the voice of NHL hockey in the West, CKNW.
Next time you buy pants, try on Double Knits by Days at Woodward's Pants Shop. You get a 3-star selection in fit, fashion, and fabric. Days Double Knits give you extra comfort and longer wear. In fact, in multi-stripes, fancy weaves, or jeans, you name the cloth and cut, you get the exact pants you want at Woodward's Pants Shop with no high-pressure selling. Biggest selection of Days is at Woodward's downtown pants shop, where the big red, white, and blue racks are packed with pants for young adults. You win at Woodward's.
This is CKNW, the voice of NHL hockey in the West.
The Overtime Show is presented by White Spot, where the service is as friendly as the food is famous.
The Minnesota North Stars this afternoon defeat the Vancouver Canucks 6-3 before the usual sellout crowd and an overflow watching the game on closed-circuit television at the Agrodome in the Pacific National Exhibition area. And it was Minnesota's hockey game all the way. They led 2-0 at the end of the first period. Goldsworthy scoring his 31st of the year on a breakaway from Druin and Gibbs at 5:19. Goldsworthy again from Moans at 11:42 while killing a penalty, and that was a key goal. So after one period, it was 2-0, and in the first period, the North Stars had the only 3 penalties. Vancouver outshot Minnesota 12-7. Dunk Wilson replaced Charlie Hodge in the Vancouver goal after one period, but had little more successes. In the second period, Minnesota scored 3 more. Grant, his 31st of the year from Parise and Moans on a power play at 2:07. Goldsworthy, his 3rd of the game, his 33rd of the year from Harris at 7:15. And then Gibbs, his 5th of the year from Harris and Labossiere on a power play at 9:27. The second period ended 5-0. Quite a few penalties in that second period, a total of 8 in the period. The Canucks took 5 of them, all minors. Minnesota outshot the Canucks 14-7 in the second period. Then in the third, Goldsworthy again became the first Minnesota player to ever score 4 goals in one game. His 34th of the year from Reed at 1:20 of the third period with the Canucks a man short. That made it 6-0. Then the Canucks started to come back in the play to make the score respectable. Orland Kurtenbach scored his 18th of the year from Popiel and Boudria at 3:08, right off a face-off, 4 seconds after Minnesota had taken a penalty. The power play goal by Kurtenbach, robbing Maniago of a shutout. Then Ted Taylor scored his 8th of the year from Hall and Corrigan at 6:28, and Danny Johnson his 12th of the year from Kurtenbach and Schmatz at 11:08 to wrap up the scoring. The only penalties of the third period were to Hampson of Minnesota and Talon of the Canucks. In the game, Minnesota had 7 minors, the Canucks had 6. Shots on goal in the third period by Vancouver 12, by Minnesota 7. And in the hockey game, the Canucks outshot the North Stars 31-28. Goldsworthy, Gibbs, and Kurtenbach were selected as the game's 3 stars. More on today's game in a moment.
Over 50 hot and cold dishes laid out in a tempting array, smorgasbord style. That's what awaits you any night of the week at the White Spots Oak Ridge Buffet. From the cold table, you may choose such tasty treats as baked whole salmon, marinated Bismarck herrings, Pacific crab curasiva, cold cuts of meat, or a whole host of cool, crisp salads and dressings. Pack them away or come back for seconds, and then you're ready for the hot table entrees. Baron of beef, golden roast of turkey, Hawaiian ham steak, or maybe dry garlic spare ribs. The menu list is too long to read. It's a gourmet feast at a price that ought to be expensive, but it isn't. All you can eat for only $3.95. A gourmet's bargain at any time when even ordinary food prices are going up. But the price remains sensible, and the quality as delicious as ever at White Spots Oak Ridge Buffet. Plenty of free parking, too, out at the Oak Ridge Shopping Center. Why not treat the family to a buffet dinner soon? And to be on the safe side, it's a good idea to phone the Oak Ridge Buffet at 266-6111 for reservations.
Now let's get some of the background to this 6-3 Minnesota victory. We go to the Vancouver Canucks dressing room, and here is Al Davidson.
Down in the room adjacent to the Vancouver Canucks dressing room, we're awaiting the arrival of the captain of the Vancouver Canucks, Orland Kurtenbach. He's walking down the hallway now, and as we mentioned in our last broadcast, before Kurt suffered his injury December 23rd, they called it the Kurt and Al show. It appears it's going to be that way again. Kurt, I guess everybody would like to know what happened in the first 2 periods of play. The club seemed a little flat, then came out and played great hockey in the third.
Well, I thought we had a good first period. We outshot them 12-7, and we had by far the best goal-scoring chances. But as it turned out, we came in with a 2-0 deficit, and then the second period we didn't play well, and they scored 3 goals on us. But I thought we outplayed them in the first and third periods, and it's one of those games, I guess. I don't know whether we weren't ready for it. I felt the club was playing very good in the first period, so I guess it's just one of those games.
It is a game of inches, and even at 6-0, you go over every goal they scored. Like Goldsworthy was first and caught Barry Wilkins a little bit out of position and got a stride on him and scored. And then the second Goldsworthy goal, Charlie Hodge would never let one like that in another 10 years.
Well, it hit the... Charlie made the save on it, I think off his stick or glove. And on those shots, most of the time, you assume that Goldsworthy shoots the puck very hard. And you just assume when he makes a stop like that, the puck's going to go into the corner or over to the glass on, at a 45-degree angle from where the shot came from. And in this time, it just went up and sort of blooped in. And from the angle that I was coming back on it, I could just see it. It just had enough speed to just barely get in over the line.
That's how close it is. And
well, yes, it is, yeah.
Then the third goal, Danny Grant was on the power play, so there's a reason for that. And then Bill Goldsworthy's third goal of the day, I thought he was, a good 50 feet offside. Were you on the ice at the time?
No, but I was expecting a whistle too. I don't know what happened there. I couldn't see from the puck had been shot from the blue line, the other side, and Goldie was way up the ice, and he picked up the puck, and I was expecting a whistle. Usually on those cases, if the man who picks up the puck comes from behind the blue line and gets it, it's okay. But in this case, he was definitely on the other side. He was over towards the red line.
Let a good shot go, and I happen to notice, and King Clancy mentioned in between periods that Goldsworthy has got 34 goals now. Like Rosaire Paymont had a slow start with the 4 here he had today, but you watch him every time he shoots. He must have gone to a rifle range or something because he shoots most accurately.
Well, in the last 3 years, Goldie's really come along. He's a big fella, and he was in the Boston chain for a number of years, and when they had some of the last place clubs there, and he didn't come along the way they expected him to, and all he needed was a little chance, and with the expansion he certainly got it, and he shows that he's got the stuff. He's a big fella, strong as a bull, and he can shoot the puck very, very well. And he'll get his 30 every year. There's no doubt about it.
Nice to see him come along, and we spoke of this too the last game, and it's nice to see this fella come along with the Vancouver Canucks, number 8. I think he's going to be a great acquisition, just a little more time. The last few games he's played wonderfully well. I thought just as good as anybody in the ice, Danny Johnson.
Danny skates very well, and he works hard all the time, so it's just a matter of time. Again, I think a lot of times with the expansion, it's given fellows a chance to play that ordinarily wouldn't get it, and some fellas just don't come along in the same pace. It depends on a certain amount on the breaks and the amount of ice time and so on, and it's just a matter of patience.
And I thought worth the price of admission alone today, although he didn't score, but gosh, he's made some beautiful plays, setting up people, and the passes right on a dime. Of course, the number 1 rookie of the club, number 19, Dale Talon. I thought he laid down some good passes.
Well, but this is with Dale, it's becoming commonplace. He handles the puck so very well, and he feathers those passes in there. He's got good timing, and he does his game in and game out. Of course, when we lose some of the games, of course, this mars the play of everybody, and this is probably the problem with our club as it stands right now.
I like his attitude, and I would say, you meet a lot of hockey players in and out, Kurt, and he's got to go down as a kid with a lot of class in the same category as Andy Bathgate and some of the great guys.
Well, Al, it seems with all the good hockey players, they have a certain amount of humility that goes along with their ability to play hockey, and I guess that's part of being besides being a good hockey player, being a good man and a great man. This is part of it.
Now, 2 weeks from today is the final game of the season, April the 4th, at 2 Sundays away. And I imagine a lot of people would like to know, what are the Kurtenbachs going to do in the off-season?
Right now, just going to take it easy for a while at the end of the season. And then I have hockey schools lined up, one over in Lake Cowichan for a month, and then over at the Arbutus Club for 2 weeks. And I'll be taking my family over for a month of holiday and relaxing on the beach.
You have some relatives over in Vancouver Island anyway, don't you?
Yes, I do, yes.
You get some fishing in?
Well, I hope to. This is one of the big things about coming out the West Coast. If you can't take advantage of the fishing and hunting and just the natural beauty out here, well, it's the person's fault, not the province's, I'll tell you.
Well, some of the best fishing I've ever had is over in Cowichan, in the Duncan area, and I hope you have a great hockey school and get some good salmon over there. And on behalf of our sponsor, Kurt, I'd like to present you with this gift certificate for the Granville Dining Room. Take you and your family out for a good feed.
Thanks very much, Al.
The captain of the Vancouver Canucks again on the Kurt and Al show, immediately following the Vancouver Canucks hockey game. Pleasure always to talk with Orland Kurtenbach, and here again is Jim Robson.
The scores of other games, the NHL standings, and a final comment on this game in a moment.
Robson Street has long been one of Vancouver's most fascinating areas for shopping, strolling, or simply soaking up a little European atmosphere. And now Robson Street has a new attraction that more and more Vancouverites are visiting. It's the Robson Street White Spot, the newest of the all-coffee shop white spots. And what a great place for a meal. You get the same good food as at all other white spot coffee shops. Food you've made famous, including several special new entrees available for lunch and dinner every day. The Robson Street White Spot is perfect, too, for after the theater or after movie dining. They serve up hearty breakfasts, and lots of people are coming in for Sunday brunch. If you haven't been to the Robson Street White Spot yet, it's time you headed there. It's on Robson Street, just west of Burrard. Ample free parking in back. The hours are from 7:30 every morning until 1:30 a.m., 2 a.m. on Fridays and Saturdays. Pick your favorites from the White Spot menu. You'll find good food, friendly service, and full facilities. That's at the Robson Street White Spot. Drop by soon.
A busy Sunday in the National Hockey League with 3 afternoon games and 3 more tonight. This afternoon, the Chicago Blackhawks defeated Detroit 2-0. And in the third period in Oakland, the California Seals are leading Los Angeles 4-2. That's good news for the Minnesota North Stars, who are keeping an eye on Los Angeles, who still have a mathematical chance of making the playoffs, although it's a very long shot possibility. Tonight, Buffalo's at Boston, Montreal at New York, and Toronto in Philadelphia. The standings now up to date in the Eastern Division. Boston, playing tonight, now have 115 points. New York, 99. Montreal, 87. Toronto, 76. There's your top 4 in the Eastern Division. Then Buffalo with 53 points, Detroit with 50, and the Vancouver Canucks with 47. The Canucks have played 1 fewer games than Detroit and 2 less than Buffalo after the Sabres play tonight. In the Western Division, Chicago on top with 101 points, St. Louis 77, Minnesota now with 69, Philadelphia with 65, Pittsburgh 58, Los Angeles still playing this afternoon, went into today's activity with 56, and the California Seals with 41. So in the contest, if you like, for the last spot of the 14 teams and the first pick in the amateur draft, Canucks at this stage of 47 points, and California with 41, but leading this afternoon, could end up today 4 points back of Vancouver. The Canucks' next game will be Tuesday night here at the Pacific Coliseum at 8 o'clock when they'll play the St. Louis Blues. Once again, the final score today, the Minnesota North Stars 6, the Vancouver Canucks 3. This is Jim Robson saying good afternoon from the Pacific Coliseum in Vancouver.
White Spot has brought you the Overtime Show. White Spot, where they serve up that good food you made famous.